And welcome to the RedLeafRetrocast anime episode 54, titled Lupin the Third Movie Specials. I'm your host JD, joined by Tori, a fellow Lupin nerd himself. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing alright. Been looking forward to this podcast for a while now, and got a new setup going as well, so hopefully, it is noticeable.
Got yourself a pop filter now.
I got myself a pop filter, and I got myself a studio arm, so now I don't have to lean into my microphone to talk. Now I can just sit back and relax.
Ah, you have joined me. It's a simple little change, but it makes a hell of a difference. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. And Hickey, you are now in a totalitarian government, right?
No, not yet. I'm just trying to survive. Everything is going alright. Everything will be alright. Just gonna be a little bit more fun, as I put it. But yeah, I'm doing fine. Still need to work in this weekend, which sucks. But I'll be fine.
I'll be fine. Work's been putting a thrashing on me lately as well. Get this, guys. This is a funny story. I come into work Thursday morning, and there was an issue during the night shift.
Like always.
So, like always, right? So I come in at 8 o'clock, and they want me to work. They wanted me to stagger a shift because there's a new guy I got to train. So like, okay. So I come in at 8, and I haven't even been there 5 minutes before one of the lab techs and one of the more upper management guys comes up to me, and he goes, well, what's this regulation you've been running? What's this procedure? I go, you're going to have to be more specific than that. We got like 1,000 of them. And he goes, what about the pH meters? I was like, oh, well, what do you want to know? He goes, well, these tanks, what do you run them at? What is your goal? It's like 4.0. It's what it's been since day one I got there, right? And he goes, well, it should be 3.8. And I respond, since when? This was news to me. And he goes, well, we decided at 7 o'clock it should be 3.0 or 3.8. I go, okay, so I'll start doing that then. Thanks for telling me. He goes, no. What you've been running the past couple weeks? Well, 4.0, because that's what the procedure's been. Well, you've been wrong this whole time. This is unacceptable. You need to start following procedure. I go, sir, are you honestly yelling at me and for following a procedure that has existed for an hour over something that's 2 weeks old? He goes silent for a little bit, and he goes, well, you just need to listen to management. I don't need your back talk. I'm like, what is happening here?
You're getting yelled at.
Yes.
I'm getting yelled at for not following a procedure that hasn't existed yet.
Well, I mean, that is clearly your fault.
Okay,
yeah.
Hickey, you sound like my mother at this point. I told her the story, and she goes, well, clearly...
I sound like your lawyer. It is clearly your fault.
You should apologize.
I should apologize for not anticipating the change in
That's right, JD.
procedure.
But here's the thing. If you would have done that, you would have also violated your policy because you would have then broken the old one.
Exactly. Therefore, the finger is always going to be pointed at me. Oh, I was furious.
Oh, no, I get it. I got a question to ask. This guy, does he have any relation to Norway Cup in any way? Because it sounds like it, because that's what they do. They allow they have allowed teams in this year's Norway Cup to play with players, football players, soccer players, like young girls and boys, to play with some teams that are struggling to field teams, have been allowed to use some overage players. Granted, as long as they wrote in to have to get permission first, which they did, and they got yes. And then 3 games into this year's Norway Cup, the people that are leading this, they decided, you know what? Nah, we've changed our mind. You're not allowed to do this anymore. Well, so we're taking away your points for the victories you had. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, of course. You know, you just gave us permission, and now 3 games in, you're like, actually, we changed our mind.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of the exact same circumstance.
But you broke the rules.
You got permission? Well, hell, you broke the rules that didn't exist.
I mean, they did exist, but they asked for permission, and they got it.
Right, so then that's a new policy right there. Then they go, you know what? Fuck it. This is now breaking the rules again.
That's right.
Yeah, I was fuming for a good 6 hours of the 9 hours I was working. Oh, and then to top it off, the very next day, I take it all back. That happened on Wednesday. Thursday is when the new guy came down all of a sudden with this allergic reaction, which I do not believe for 1 second. And so I had to stay until like 7 o'clock. So I worked an over 13-hour shift, which is now I'm overtime. And so then on Friday morning, they go, why'd you work that long? I go, well, you made me stay because the other guy didn't show up. Well, why didn't the other guy show up early? Because he's already working a 12-hour shift and you don't want us to work overtime. Well, this is unacceptable. You guys need to figure this shit out. Like, there's just no winning this week.
Jay, you just need to get their job, and then you'll be fine because you'll be running the show. No, it's a clusterfuck right now. It's very what happened.
Very
funny.
Irritating.
My phone broke, so I had to buy a new one.
Your phone broke.
Yeah, I bought a new one, which is one thing I'm actually very happy with my government is that now there's a bunch of transport companies appearing, and my phone came in 2 days. It was like free shipping 7 days. It came in 2 days, which is really good. My older phone fell from it had a 10 centimeters high fall, and it was trashed. So that wasn't fun.
What brand of phone did you have?
I had a Samsung.
Samsung. That makes
which is
more
good.
sense
Like
to me now.
no, like I like Samsung. I'm a Samsung fanboy. Although the phones are not that good and fairly expensive for what they are.
That's for sure. I'm an LG guy myself.
Yeah, I bought a Motorola this time.
Ooh, those are real good. I wanted a Motorola, but the particular model I wanted just happened to be LG, and I haven't looked back since. I really like the LG.
Yeah. My father also likes Motorola, but I like Samsung because Samsung has their own version of Android, which is a little bit heavier, but I don't need to deal with a bunch of Google bullshit. Right?
You're not wrong. Yeah.
So usually,
it's
that
more,
is the most annoying it's part. More comfort, and that phone was almost a Nokia. I threw that cell phone without any protection. It fell from the second floor of a house and didn't break, but a 10 centimeter fall trashed it. I was so pissed. But that's okay.
Yeah, Motorola's coming back because they have good quality and it's cheaper than what Samsung's become is what I dislike about iTunes, or not iTunes, iPhones.
iPhones, yeah.
Is I dislike iTunes as well, but you still every listener should at least go to the podcast page and leave us a review. Of course. But they've fallen into the trap that iPhones have had, where it's overpriced, cheap China material.
Yeah,
made to break, and it's no bueno in my book.
See, everybody says that, but I've had an iPhone for fucking ever, and they don't break.
One of my most earlier smartphones was an iPhone. That was before. I've seen my brother, as Hickey said, drop it 10 centimeters and it just shatters into 1,000 pieces.
I dropped mine for fucking halfway down the stairs, right down to a rock. And I look at it, it's got a little scratch on the screen. That's about it. We're fine. So I don't know. Maybe I must be incredibly lucky.
You probably dropped it at that one particular 38-degree angle that
Sure.
The phones are very yeah.
That's
that is the angle.
Sure. I'm incredibly lucky then, because it's not just once. I've done this many times, but they don't break. Like I said, my fucking...
See, we need to get you playing a game of craps now, Tori, because you're very good at that 38-degree throw. Clearly.
Yeah, I must be.
Yeah. I say 38 because obviously science, right?
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Physics, too. All the science and physics.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
I think 38 degrees, I think it's the angle of the Challenger tank's main... Anyway, regardless, doesn't matter. It's good at ricocheting things.
How about some fun news?
How
about some fun news? Yes.
I don't have any.
None? I do. I have a couple.
Sure. I bought a new phone, and it's cool.
So, are you guys familiar with the Fire Emblem series?
Yes.
Yes. There was a new release, right?
Yes, the new one came out last Friday. It's called Three Houses. It's almost like Harry Potter, but Fire Emblem.
Oh, that doesn't sound like a good news.
I was very off-put about this premise at first, and diving in my first impressions over this one compared to... I have almost every single Fire Emblem game that's come out in the West, and this is definitely the most jarring one to pop into, because there's just so much that you have to learn in the initial couple hours. It's very overwhelming, you could say. But once I got past, what this game is going to be about, then it's just incredibly addicting. I'm very much into how the story's progressing into this Fire Emblem game as opposed to others. I'm very excited. It has tremendous reviews, which I was very happy to see, and I'm very happy with it. It's addicting. It's a new fresh take on a Fire Emblem game, which I can vastly appreciate.
Talking about addicting in games, the Seinen Kagura pinball game will release on Steam. So I'm excited for that. Well, I mean, come on. I thought
boobs
it would
and
be...
pinball? What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, I thought it would be a Switch exclusive because, Sony said, get those thoughts out of my sight. And Steam is giving mixed signals. But
all the Senran Kagura games are on.
Yes,
PSN,
but like Steam is going through a little bit of a identity crisis, because at one hand it is allowing like full-on hentai games, but on the other hand, it is denying, like, it's not even edgy games, but like just, I don't know. It's really weird. The policy is being polished. So I thought maybe because like the producers don't want anything to do with it anymore, and just, I thought it would be a Switch exclusive. People were talking about like this game coming out only on Switch, but now it's coming to Steam, so I'm happy. I might actually get it.
Tell me how it goes. Keep me posted on Senran Kagura pinball.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even surprised that Steam is kind of fluctuating in what they allow, mostly because, like, I mean, how hard is it to fucking keep people pleased? Like, I follow fucking YouTube on Twitter, and some of the complaints I see leveraged at YouTube. Like, I understand being mad at YouTube for things. There are loads of things to be mad at YouTube. What do I see today? Somebody yelled at YouTube for promoting quote-unquote devil music. And I'm like, what year is this?
Back to the 1700s we go.
You know what's funny? I saw a Twitter post along those lines of something just super archaic, and it was, no woman should ever wear jeans, yoga pants, etc., because they can't not show off a woman's ass or slender legs or make them look overly sexualized. They should only wear long dresses. down to past their ankles and and I just couldn't help but laugh because of how archaic that is.
Ha! Checkmate, liberal. That's also a fetish.
Yeah,
Got him.
that is actually true.
Yeah. And then Tori, you might appreciate this thing. Later today, shortly after the podcast, I'm going to a football game tonight, soccer. It's New England versus LA, and Ibrahimovic is playing, so I get to see him play live for the first time ever.
Okay, he is actually playing. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
he should be.
I'm not sure. If you've been hearing, he isn't very pleased with the MLS at the time. So,
well, they're also about to go on strike, it seems.
Even better.
So,
yeah.
Wow.
Well, I hope it's a good game, and I hope he plays.
Well, I doubt it because LA is like the best team in the league and New England's the worst. But who knows? Maybe if Ibrahimovic plays, we could see a triple hat trick from the guy,
or an overhead kick, either or.
Yeah, let's see. LAFC is they're number 1 on their table, and then New England is, never mind, they've moved up to mid-table after being last place for the first half of the year. Excellent.
All right. That's, it could be a good game.
LAFC. Let me click on them. Now I'm worried that, Ibrahimovic won't be playing, because that's kind of the whole reason why I wanted to go to this game in the first place. It doesn't say he's not, like, he's out or anything.
Well, there's always a chance.
Oh, boy. Now you have me worried. Because the last game I went to was to see Wayne Rooney play. And then I got super sick, and I was super pissed that I didn't get to see Wayne Rooney play.
I mean, it's Wayne Rooney, though. Like, come on.
What do you mean, come on? He's like one of the greatest English players to live.
Yeah,
well, strikers, anyways.
But, I mean, come on, though. Like, he hasn't been great for a while.
But it's still seeing a guy play live.
Sure.
I understand you,
You do you.
As someone
you understand me, Hickey? You understand my feelings?
Yeah, as someone who lost Brazil versus Argentina, where Messi played, I understand you.
Well, that's different.
How is that different?
Because Messi's one of the best players in the world.
Well, so's Ibrahimovic. He has been since, 2004?
When was the last time Ibra was on the fucking short list for
Dude,
world's
he
greatest
gets 36
players?
goals a year.
Plays in the MLS. He is fucking...
He did it in he's done it for every team he's ever played for.
I know, but that's for years ago.
In every league.
Like, he's not even fucking... Giovinco is doing better than him. Does anybody even know who that is?
No.
Exactly.
I like Giovinco. He's awesome. He's a tiny little scrappy Italian guy playing in Toronto.
I really liked him when he played for Juventus and he was in FIFA and he was a pace merchant.
You can still get him now. Oh, I loved seeing... When I was living in Toronto, Giovinco was just so much fun to watch. That dude was just on such another level than all the other guys.
I mean, yeah, like I said, he's quick and he's nimble.
Yeah. So anyways, what are we doing on this podcast today, Tori? What is the whole idea here?
Welcome to the Sportscast.
Jesus. Video games, sports, not anime.
Yep. No,
Welcome to the general chat, where we forget we are just filthy weebs with no social life whatsoever.
Listen,
and talk about things we like.
Listen, we haven't recorded in like 2 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah.
We're just catching up with each other. Well, mostly JD, because I still talk to Tori basically every day.
Yeah, I basically not talked to JD since last time. But anyways, we're talking about Lupin the Third. This is our Lupin the Third movie special episode 54. Do you not know? Do you not look at our schedule?
JD announces the name of the cast 2 minutes in. This is a Lupin cast. Going a fucking huge tangent about work and sports and my government collapsing. And then it's like, which cast is this anyway?
What are we doing again?
Yeah. All right, so a few months ago, unfortunately, or 2 months ago, Monkey Punch unfortunately passed away. The creator and originator of Lupin III, one of the most iconic anime characters of all time. And so an idea was spurned to kind of celebrate Monkey Punch himself and the legacy of Lupin. We've already done Lupin III, the first season podcast, which was very enjoyable. And to celebrate that, we thought, hey, we're each going to pick a movie/special, because there's a lot of them, let's face it, and just kind of celebrate Lupin that way. So we got 3 movie specials that we're going to kind of talk about, and yeah. So what does Lupin mean to you guys?
Well, I mean, obviously, Lupin was one thing. It's one of those series that I had heard about for almost as I got into anime. People were talking about it, but I never got into it because, one, it was very old, and at the time I wasn't into old anime, and it was fairly long. There's a lot of Lupin to get into, and it's kind of a daunting task. But on this old forum that I was a part of, we one day decided to do a watch-along, and we, for whatever reason, against the odds, Lupin the Third Part won the poll. So yeah, we ended up watching that, and despite very limited animation and, definitely being something I was not used to seeing at the time, I had a lot of fun watching Part 1. And since then, I decided to go on a little bit of a Lupin binge, and I watched Part 2, all of it. And I was going to watch Part 3, but the subs that I watched were so terrible that I literally understood more of the Japanese they spoke than the English subtitles. Well, quote-unquote English. So I kind of ended up dropping there. But since then, I've obviously had my movie quest, and I watched a bunch of Lupin specials. And it's one of those things like, Lupin is very formulaic. It's very often, it builds on the same things over and over, and kind of puts some different twists every once in a while. But generally speaking, you know what you're getting from Lupin. But it's not necessarily the story, it's not necessarily the animation always, it's not any of that, but it's just, Lupin is a show that is carried by really strong and entertaining characters, really charismatic characters, and they've carried me through a lot. So I really appreciate the show. I can always turn on an episode of Lupin and expect to enjoy myself or have a laugh or anything. It never fails. It's just really entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that passionate about Lupin, but
get off.
All right.
What are you doing
everyone. Here? It's been fun. I try to fake. If you go back in the other podcast, I'm just shut up, and while you guys gush about Lupin, and suddenly JD starts saying we are all Lupin fans, like, I guess it's too late for me to raise my voice.
That's right, you're a Lupin fan now.
I guess I started the same as Tori, although I've been watching anime since the dawn of time, I guess, or my time. You listen a lot about Lupin, while at the same time you don't listen too much about it. It's the same thing. It's the same thing every single time, especially because one of the specials has the one particular guy directing it, and everyone really, really likes to talk about that.
Sure.
Which is Castle of Cagliostro. I don't think I need to say the name. And one day, just like Tori, I think it was the same watch along. It was the watch along. I watched part 1 of Lupin, the pilot, episode 0, which is very fun. Even the episode 0 is such a short movie, but it is very fun to watch. And then came part 1, and then part 2 is part 2 that has missing episodes, a bunch of missing episodes, or is it part 3 with the bad English subtitles?
I'm pretty sure it's part 3 because
I'm pretty sure it's part 3 as well.
I watched part 1 and part 2. I started watching part 3, but Tori was ahead of me, and he said it is horrible. The subtitles are horrible.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a bunch of missing episodes.
Part 3 is a rough watch.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I'll probably skip it. Unfortunately, like single thing, my existing life got in the way. I couldn't start like part 4, part 5, and devote a time to watch the specials. But Lupin is still very interesting to me as an anime fan. Even though I don't watch it a lot, I still enjoy it so much. Like Tori said, the characters are great, they're strong, they're well written. But most importantly is, we see a lot of series that come and go, or series that are huge, but they are usually a continuation of each other, or they are remakes. I'm thinking of like Detective Conan, but Detective Conan is a continuation, right? It's gigantic
it's never,
as well.
It's never had to return.
Yes. You don't have pauses. You don't have remakes or extensive changes in direction and production. But Lupin is different. Because Lupin started as a joke, right, with Monkey Punch.
Yeah, he got a one shot to basically make whatever he wanted. So he just made like this, essentially an early form of like a Kuso manga, or like a shit manga, like one of those like so bad it's good type of manga. Right. And then for whatever reason, everyone just loved it. So they were like, you know what? From now on, you're known as Monkey Punch, even though you hate that nickname, and you're making this full time.
Yeah, and this one, I feel it's almost like a Ghost in the Shell on steroids, where everyone who picks up this to produce gives their own spin on the thing, which is very interesting because Lupin by itself doesn't have any traits, doesn't have any personalities, but that's also a very strong point because everyone who likes doing Lupin are so good and they really like to put their spin on the thing. So every single time you watch a Lupin, you're like watching, there's so many little things that change, like so many cranks and nooks, and every single thing contributes to this big picture that is Lupin the Third in almost like 40 years now.
Oh yeah,
of Lupin.
Yeah, it started like what was it, 1968?
Yeah, with the pilot.
Yeah,
the pilot's 1968. So yeah. It is very, very fun. It's very, very interesting. And even if you don't like it, popping out a special like we did once in a while, it is great to see the dynamics between the characters, which had the same voice actors for decades. So they knew each other, they were friends.
Yeah.
And you can see that translated into the scene as well, the antics of Bestman Zenigata trying to catch Lupin and how it evolves during the decades.
Yeah.
We have the first Lupins full of gadgets, then, it goes to a more James Bond looking Lupin, and after that you have a more realistic kind of Lupin. Then with episode 0, as we will talk, it goes back at being wacky and full of gadgets. So
yeah,
it's great. It's just a great journey so far.
Just to kind of add on to what Hickey said as well, just to kind of put it into perspective, the original voice actress for Fujiko Mina, because I think she's the one who was the voice actress the longest. She was eventually switched out with 2014, I think it was, with Miyuki Sawashiro. And she voiced Fujiko up until she was 74 years old. So that just, puts it into perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she definitely has a there's a cadence to the way she speaks for Fujiko that just entraps you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's she fits who Fujiko was at the time very well.
That's the, I mean, so you look at the original voice actor for Lupin himself as well. You can find him on Mal. You can find a picture of him. He looks like Lupin.
Yeah. To be the character, you must become the character.
Yeah.
That old saying. So, as Hickey said, episode 0, the pilot, was in 1968. And the first series came out in 1971. You can listen to our podcast where we reviewed the first series. And then part 2 came out in 1977, and that went on for a long time, consisting of over 100 episodes. 150, Tori?
Yeah, 155 maybe.
Yeah. And then it went on a little break for a little while, and then part 3 came out in 84, and that did not go down very well.
Well,
because the difference between part 1 and part 2 was part 2 went to a more family-friendly focused, or at least less adult. And part 3 just seemed to miss a lot of steps in that. And once part 3 kind of finished, I believe that was only about 50 episodes. Mm-hmm. Thereabouts. We ended up seeing, for the next 20 years? No, 30 years. Let's see.
Yes.
80, 94, yeah, 30 years. 30 years just movies and specials, almost on an annual or biannual basis, until part 4 came out in 2015. And then since then, we saw part 5 that came out in 2018, which we spoke very highly of.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Not to mention the standalone movies for Jigen, Goemon, Fujiko.
Yeah, the TV series.
Yeah, that are
the
coming
live
out
action,
right now,
the live action movie in 2014.
Yeah, the CG movie coming out in 2019 in
CG,
December.
Yeah. Lupin lives on.
Yeah, it does. No matter what,
it's quite
it doesn't
impressive.
Die.
Yeah, it's the soul of Zenigata. As long as he doesn't catch Lupin, this show won't end.
I mean, he has already got Lupin. But yeah, no, it's kind of nice, right? It's just nice to see something like so simple, but it's affected so many people to the point where it refuses to die. The audience for Lupin isn't as great as it once was, but there's always people there that are willing to watch it and buy it, so they keep making it, and there are so many fans. Like Takeshi Koike obviously has his trilogy movies, which are like trying to return Lupin to like the more edgy, dark thing. You have the woman called Fujiko Mina, the TV series by Sayo Yamamoto. Right, like it refuses to die. Honestly, even though so for now the last thing we know what's going to come out is the CG movie by the same people who did the Doraemon movie. Like I wouldn't even be surprised if 2020 something like that we're getting another one. 2021 maybe. I wouldn't even be surprised.
Yeah, part 7.
Yeah. Well, not
part 6 and 7.
Not necessarily the next TV series. It might just be another movie or special, but it's
very possible, yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's just ever going to go away. It probably will eventually, but
I think Lupin's greatest strength is the cast is so strong, and the way each character acts with one another. All you have to do is have a simple contained story each time, whether it's in a movie form or an episode form, and it just works.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're always left wanting more. That's its strength.
Yeah, the fact it doesn't have a very defined personality, but at the same time having extremely defined characters in a world is what it is, its biggest strength, I think. And also, because of that, you have people getting captivated. Those people grow, they start working with anime, they decide to work on Lupin so they can captivate more people to do the same thing they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's great. It's a valid that validates the comparison I did with Ghost in the Shell. The problem is Ghost in the Shell is way more complex of a story than Lupin.
Yeah. I'm definitely glad that Ghost in the Shell doesn't have a new movie every year, although it still gets new ones.
It's getting a new one from Netflix, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, let's get this podcast.
Just a little pause. Let's just make a little pause, talk about the manga, and then we go back at what we were talking about.
Yeah. We got our manga manhwa checkout, and then we can
just keep on talking about Lupin.
Yeah, just a little break again. We'll pause. So here we go.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Okay, so this was my choice for the Manga Manhwa checkout this time on this podcast. If you're joining us for the first time, it's a segment where each episode we highlight a manga, manhwa, or webtoon after reading the first volume or X amount of chapters. This is our 14th checkout. It's over the manga Lady Snowblood. It's a manga written by Kazuo Koike. Sound familiar, Tori?
Yes. It does.
Yes. His most well-known works are Lone Wolf and Cub and Go-Go 13.
Yeah.
We've discussed that before. Illustrated by Kazuo Kamimura. Released in 1972, and it's only 4 volumes long. Summary of Anime Planet is a story of pure vengeance. Lady Snowblood tells the tale of a daughter born of a singular purpose, to avenge the death of her family at the hands of a gang of thugs. A purpose woven into her soul from the time of her gestation. There's a word for you. So I read the first volume to get a much better...
you didn't finish it?
I did not finish it on purpose. I have the rest of the volumes at my bedside to finish after the cast. So I wanted to make it very clear that this is my first impression of it. And I can say I am definitely finishing this.
Yeah, it is very fun. I don't know if I can talk about the best volume 1 now. But yeah, it is definitely... I guess volume 1 doesn't make any justice to volume 2, 3, and 4. Because it is very anecdote at times, especially the first 2 chapters where like you're just thrown at the world and you're following this young woman. She kills someone, and the person, as the person is dying by like the last page, the person's like, "What are you?" And she's like closing the umbrella, like, "Lady Snowblood." I'm like, oh, okay.
Every time.
Yeah, but that's only like the first 4 chapters, I think.
I did read last night the first 4 chapters of volume 2.
All right, so you can
Well, okay, the chapters are broken up into parts. So I should say I read the first 4 parts. So 1 chapter of volume 2. So it's still in that same... It's setting up... okay, so Lady Snowblood is this assassin for hire. And you do learn of her purpose is to have this story of vengeance from her mother. And what's occurred is there was this great fire, so to say, that these
Kind of. There's
a riot.
Yeah, it's because the problem with Japanese historical things is that you actually need to know history. It's not in the concept, like it's not in the context. It's not like Western stories where like we will see something about the Middle Ages and you understand what is Middle Ages, but you don't need to understand what is going on, right? It's not like the Siege of Normandy from the Danish or something like that. You don't, like in Vinland Saga, you need to know those kind of things. You don't need specific, like, knowledge about the era you were in. For example, if I say, like, grand navigations, it's like, okay, it's the Portuguese and the Spanish going around the Atlantic and the Pacific, discovering new land. So if they land in an island, you know it's like in the Americas probably. You don't need a lot of context of what's going on with the diplomatic and noble war between Portugal and Spain at that time. You don't need to understand that. But with Japanese things, Japanese stories, historical stories, you need to. So like there's this tax revolt where people were misguided by someone, and then they had to pay more taxes, something like that, and they revolted. And those people decided to use that opportunity to kill and rape a family. It's something along those lines. Also, it's like when she's an adult, is late 1800s, early 1900s.
It takes place between like 1870 and 1910.
Yeah, see,
was my
so
understanding.
Like, it's quite an important time for Japan.
It's on the verge of the industrial age.
Yeah.
But it's still like Western culture is kind of influencing. It's starting to at the very least.
Yes, you have the Meiji Restoration, which is a few years back, which is the setting for the Samurai X Trust and Betrayal OVAs. So yeah, you need to understand a few things that are going on, or else you will be lost.
I don't think you'll be too lost, though. I think you just have to understand just the bare bone basics of it, and I don't know, maybe it's because we watch so much anime and we've seen so much of this time period, we kind of already know that.
I mean, I'll say that because later on there's more historical facts that come to play, and they explain it to you with walls of text. So, like, if you're not interested in that, or if you already not know, you might get a little bit bored for like 2 pages of just text explaining history to you.
I didn't find it that overwhelming of how much text there was. It's nothing compared to, say, Ghost in the Shell that we went through.
Oh no, it's just the...
That's another level of text.
yeah, it's just the part about the historical circumstances behind the story they are about to tell you. So
yeah, so every part, it's broken up into parts to tell a singular chapter. For example, there's Lady Snowblood's hired to take down this group of people running a rickshaw business that are kidnapping women, raping them, and then putting them into the the sex trade, into brothels. So yes, this this manga is incredibly explicit, to say the least.
Yeah. I mean,
Lady Snowblood constantly gets naked.
Oh yeah, but like that's cool about her. That is a good thing about her, at least in my opinion, because like when you see female assassins in modern movies and things like that, they try too much to not be feminine or like not behave like a woman. Let's put it like that, not show weaknesses and things like that. But in her case, she uses her weaknesses or apparent weaknesses to lure in her targets, right?
Yeah, so you get that right away with the first part.
Yeah, she will almost get raped, but it's all the plan. It's all according to the plan, because then they will lower their guard, and then she just kills everyone.
A man is at his most weak when his dick is out.
That is a very true quote. And that happens a lot. So, it's not like she's not trying to overpower someone who is biologically stronger than her. But she's using her intelligence and tactics to just overpower everyone. Every single time. That's why I said
there's a lot of cool scenes in this. I really liked the rickshaw one the most, where she pretends to be kind of stupid. I must draw pictures on your rickshaws.
And then she draws the emperor, I think, and lives there. Oh, it's great. That's why like you need to understand the context of the historical context of that. Or else it's they do
translate it well enough, though.
Yeah,
where it's you drew an interpretation of the emperor that is illegal. They do say that there in front of you. Like, so even if you don't understand the context or history of it all, the way everything's just it's explained very simplistically to the reader that you just go, oh, it's against the law. Well, that's why those guys are going to get hung. All of them. I do have a question why they didn't just go, well, she drew it. But she disappeared because she's the assassin. Ha ha ha.
It's just great. It's really good.
I'm getting my pregame going before the football game. Hold on.
Oh, here we go again. I saw. Oh shit! Here we go again.
Oh shit! Here we go.
I mean, my favorite is chapter 13, but it's on volume 4, and you haven't go there.
There's only
dark.
15 total chapters.
Yes. It is one of the darkest ones. Like it involves suicide and some weird shit. And
every chapter is so different from another, and it's all towards. I just got to the part where it's all towards the singular purpose of revenge. We get that right away.
Yes, that's why I said I told you. Like you said, it's just episodic murder, and I was like, well, I'm on volume 2, and that's not quite right. Actually, everything goes to a purpose.
Yeah, it's really cool. 'Cause, that my first initial impression was it's episodic murder, and I only came across Lady Snowblood because ex-podcast host Joe said, "Oh, you like Kill Bill? Read this manga. It's kind of loosely based on it," and I totally see it. It's just this woman assassin bent on revenge of her family getting fucked in a happy period, right? Yeah. So I love Kill Bill. I love those two movies. It's Tarantino. I saw a lot of hate from Lady Snowblood, or at least Kill Bill, because a lot of the manga fans are like, you ripped this off. And I go, it's way different. It's just,
no. I mean,
it's not as close
I don't know about
the
movie. I was going to watch the 1933 movie, and maybe they were talking about the movie, not so much about the manga.
Yeah, maybe.
But I will. I will watch the movie, and I'll report to you if it's fun.
So, Lady Snowblood gets contracts, and how she fulfills the contract is so different from chapter to chapter. And then, at the end of Volume 1 and the beginning of Volume 2, it all comes together that, she had to do these to get to this specific person to gain more favor and to get more information on her eventual final targets. I go, okay, here we go. Now I'm like rubbing my hands together. I'm salivating. How is she going to get to the next part? And they're self-contained enough where you're captivated into each chapter on its own. So I could read in bed a full chapter and be so satisfied with how that ended, and yet be okay enough to go, I can't wait to read the next one, right?
Yeah, I mean, my only criticism comes from like volume 3 and 4, which it becomes way too much of the same thing. She either fails in the disguise, and then it's just naked fighting hordes of men, or she resolves to lesbian sex, or she's selling like some weird 1800 sex toys to people.
Okay, so the sexuality in this was something I was not expecting.
No, I mean, the first
we
one...
We should definitely talk about the chapter where there's this woman dying of what's it called? Consumption, aka tuberculosis, right?
It's a Japanese winter disease that kills many anime characters, yes.
Yeah, right? Everyone has tuberculosis consumption. Anyways, so she pretends to be a monk.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
And so she goes in, hey, your daughter's dying of consumption. I'm gonna do some crazy Buddha stuff. She's drawing stuff with sand, and they're captivated by her. Like, yes, pray for us. Do it every day. And at night, she's having a lesbian sex session with this woman to kill her faster.
But that is cool, because if you remember in the first volume, she gets the ultimate lesbian sex technique from the brother.
That's right, yeah. That's where she picked it all up.
And you see, it's like, why? I mean, it's funny, right? The volume in the volume one, it's funny. I laughed at it because you see a bunch of Japanese men looking at two girls, like two women going at each other.
Oh, they're losing their goddamn minds.
Yeah, they're just sweating. And she goes and like kills the owner of the brothel. I thought okay, killing the guy was just unnecessary, but okay, it's your contract, doesn't matter. And then in volume 2, she uses those techniques to a great effect. In volume 3 and 4, I think she also uses them, but it's not that. It looks like a very old version of fan service. Honestly, doesn't. I understand, but again, doesn't really matter to the thing, especially when volume 2 she used to a great effect. Mm-hmm. To not only kill the person faster, but to get closer to her, so she could write her name in the deceased book, like register, right?
Yeah, I had to look up what a hojicho is exactly, and what's the significance behind that. That's where that hit.
Where you?
It's a certain register, yeah.
Yeah. Like here, it's not a hojicho, but every church before you have the government register,
right?
They would have those books, and they would put like the birth date, and wedding date, and then death date. It's basically the same thing, but I think it's only for the death. But yeah, and like so she could get close enough to steal the book, and it's great. And then you see her using those techniques later, but it's not the same thing, right? They use the strongest chord right at the beginning.
It all plays together very well.
Yes,
Tori.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes.
What is your take on what we're describing to you? Is this something you would be interested in?
I mean, sure, I guess. I don't read a whole lot of manga, so I can't exactly say that this is something I would jump on, but maybe? I don't know.
I mean, it's only 15 chapters.
It is.
Yeah, it's quite
although
an easy
every
read.
chapter is quite big. You can read fine. One a day.
Yeah.
And be fine.
Yeah.
15 days.
No, that's
good deal.
That's fine, but it is. I don't know. It is one of those things. Like I would have to be in the mood for it, and I would have to. Most of the time, I read I don't know, a manga a month maybe, if that. So we'll see.
I can recommend this to someone who wants a very mature and simple to read manga.
Simple to read?
It is simple to read.
Yes. I'm offended.
I do love the art style. This is Hickey. This is what I've since doing the manga checkout and the few mangas that I do have, I think I found what I gravitate towards, and it's this
simplistic looking manga.
This simplistic hashing art style. So do you know what hashing is? It's like sketch hashing.
Oh, yeah.
And I've noticed it's very much, this style is very much also associated with kind of samurais. So Blade of the Immortal is a good example of something that has a very similar art style and presentation to it all, where it's assassins and sword fighting.
Great.
All those things.
I'll give one. So the next manga checkout, I have one for you. You're gonna like it. Since you're saying that, yes. Yeah, definitely. I think it gravitates more. When I read it, I was thinking more about not well-known graphic novels, more than a manga. You know, have that simplistic, very rough-looking, sketch-looking nature of it. It reminds me a lot of graphic novels, probably especially because I was thinking of Quentin Tarantino when I was reading it. But yeah.
So I was looking into something similar, and Vagabond is something that I've been interested in starting for a long time, but never have dived into.
Yes.
Tori, didn't you speak like that takes forever to get going or something?
I've read 40 chapters, and so far, nothing. There's been a couple conversations, and some people have died, but it really hasn't kind of presented, like, the main conflict yet. And it's like 200-something chapters. So, yeah.
Oh. So I'm looking up Lone Wolf and Cub, because that's the big one this author has also done.
Bullshit, it's Go-Go 13.
Well, that's for you and I. We know that's the most superior version of anything this guy's written or done. Obviously. That goes without saying. But Lone Wolf and Cub is another one from the 70s. And it's about a samurai, so I'm very interested in that one now as well. And I'm on Right Stuff. Let's see. It says there's a Blu-ray. Is that a live action?
Probably.
Must be, right?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. I think there's a live action, yes.
Let's see. It has an art style on it. Based on the... I'll look at it later. But the manga... The manga is 26 volumes, it seems. 28. Ooh, long one. Have you guys read Lone Wolf and Cub?
Nope.
No, but I've seen in the bookstores.
Okay. Ooh, there's an omnibus version. Omnibus. And they're in hardcovers? Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh, be still. Okay. Hickey, I think I know what my next choice is, but it's yours up. Yours is up next.
Yes.
There's some English for you.
Fantastic. About as good as the Lupin the Third Part 3 English.
On par. All right. Hickey, who would you recommend Lady Snowblood to, and would you recommend it to Tori?
Fans of Kill Bill.
Oh, I don't think it's really a who I guess old Tarantino-like movies fans definitely will enjoy this, especially because you have the 1933 Lady Snowblood movie, and then you have the 1974 or 5 Lady Snowblood 2, The Revenge.
The Revenge of a Revenge.
Yeah. So, if you're a fan of, I love 80s pop culture movies, Western spaghetti being Wild West movies filmed in Italy. Very rough looking, not so much well produced movies, but still highly enjoyable, with a mature setting, a lot of blood, no shame, kind of things. Yes, this is definitely for you, and you can go and watch some old Japanese movies, which I also enjoy very much.
Excellent. Okay. And with that, as I write down the timestamps, gotta get moving here. Obviously, we'll get on to more Lupin and lots of Lupin from here on out. So be excited, peoples.
Woo.
Tori,
yes,
show me your excitement. Let us hear it.
Woo!
Show me the excitement from the YouTube persona. There we go.
all while the Lupin music was playing. That's glorious. Okay. Our little topic here is Tori had done a quest of sorts, a movie quest, and he watched a shit ton of Lupin movies and specials.
I did.
So I had asked Mr. Tori over here, of not Sweden origin, the least important Scandinavian country, obviously.
Sure.
What his top Lupin movies and specials were. So you've got a little list there, correct?
Yes, I have my top 5 and 3 honorable mentions.
Excellent. Let's start with those honorable mentions, shall we?
That's great. That's what I decided to do too. All right.
We're on the same page. I'm so happy.
Yep. So, first of the...
For once.
For once, yeah, no. First of the honorable mentions is the Lupin special known as Lupin III, Blood Seal, Eternal Mermaid from 2011.
Ooh.
And was directed by, let's see here, Teichi Takiguchi. And basically, it follows, the synopsis says simply, 2 jewels are the key to the ancient treasure of Yaobikuni. Jesus. But legend has it
There's a name.
that the only person who can find the treasure is one who can walk the path of death. So, essentially, this is Lupin with... Lupin doing Lupin stuff, trying to steal impossible treasures, but he's got a kid with him.
Oh. Yeah. So like a small child or what?
Small girl.
How old are we talking small? Like 6, 12? What?
I don't remember if they ever specified her age. But she is...
What'd she look like to you?
She looks like a primary schooler, so she is very young.
Ah, alright.
So no, not a love interest, not a potential love interest. Not a small girl.
That is very clear now. And I imagine the treasure, because it's mermaid involved, I imagine it's going after kind of eternal life.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
In fact.
Figure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Fun movie. Nothing too exciting, but it's fun. The second one is one that Hickey will know. That is Lupin III, Sweet Lost Night, which was from 2008 and directed by Tetsuro Amino. So, basically, the synopsis real quick. Lupin scores a magic lamp and finds it does hold a genie. However, at the stroke of 7 p.m. strikes, and that is the last thing he remembers. Finding himself in Singapore, Lupin must battle his way past the forces of Colonel Garlic and discover the secret behind the lamp.
I love Lupin names so much sometimes. They're amazing.
Yeah. But every time the clock strikes 7 p.m., his memory is wiped clean. How can Lupin piece together this puzzle where he can't even remember what he's doing? So yeah, essentially,
so
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, this movie has the best sex scene that Lupin doesn't remember, so they don't show us.
Yes, I love it.
I'm not even kidding. It's like he had like the best sex night of his life, but he doesn't remember it. It's
no, that's utterly fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great.
That's like the sex scene in First Contact, which we'll get to. Oh,
it's honestly great. Like, just to say, I could almost say they built up this because, god damn it, like, I mean, it's not unnormal to have like hot females in Lupin, but god damn it, the female character designs in this one, woo, they're good.
Oh, okay, yeah, definitely added to my list here. I might even just straight up buy it on Right Stuff right now.
That's the name, Sweet Lost Night. Well then, that made so much sense after watching the movie.
Yeah.
Sweet Lost Night. Forgive my typing on this one, I must know.
Don't worry. It's fun, it's a fun one.
It is, it definitely is. Nothing like a Lupin movie with a crazy military general who just wants to kill everyone.
Right? The biggest problem of this movie is that Zenigata is just useless.
Yeah.
Says he lost his memory and
yeah.
But it's very fun. It's a very fun movie.
It is.
Akunto Kanojo, is that what it is?
No.
That's My Sweet Tyrant.
It's called Sweet.
No,
it's just called Sweet Lost Night.
I was like, that's a new anime from like 2018, I guess.
Sweet Lost Night. Maho no Lampua Akumu no Yokan.
Magic Lamp's Nightmare Premonition. Okay.
Yes.
Fucking. All right, sure. Okay,
sure.
The final of the honorable mentions is a special called Dead or Alive, Extreme Beach Volleyball. No, it's not. It's not called that. It's called, but it is called. Dead or Alive.
Oh my god! How has Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball never had Fujiko as a DLC character?
You know what? Probably because. Anyways, irrelevant.
That's for the best.
It's not for the best.
You don't play. You know what? Never mind.
All right,
I was almost
Dead or Alive.
I was almost giving out some very important information about myself.
All right. You know what, though? The funny part about Dead or Alive is this one was directed by... This one was, in fact, directed by Toshiya Shinohara. No, sorry, he was the co-director. The actual director was Monkey Punch.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. This is the Lupin movie that he directed. So, the synopsis goes, Lupin, Goemon, and Jigen take a mini helicopter and head to the mysterious drifting island, looking for a treasure rumored to be hidden somewhere on it. Through their exploration of the island, the trio encounters the lethal nanomachine, the island security system. The trio triggers the alarms, bringing the nanomachine to life. The key to solving the island's mystery lies in the small nation of Sufu. This once prosperous nation is now ruled by the ruthless, knife-collecting General Headhunter. Fujiko does her usual probing and hacks into General Headhunter's computer, hoping to find some crucial information. Senigata has received a video message from Lupin in which Lupin announces his desire for the priceless treasure. Oleander, a fiery blonde officer with some hidden secrets of her own, steps in to help Senigata. Armed with their newly found information, Lupin, Goemon, Jigen, and Fujiko go back to Drifting Island, but this time they are followed by General Headhunter. So yeah, this one is one of those where Lupin has to face off against technology. The nanomachines on this island, they are fucking insane. They are just like, they call it a security system, but it's not a security system. It's just a straight up fucking murder machine.
Right. It's just a death machine.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's still security.
No, it is. It is. It's just the fact that it's a security system that don't really care who you are. There's only one person in the entire world who can deactivate this security system. Everyone else, even if you're a guard on this island, no, fuck you, you're dead.
No.
I remember this movie now. Okay.
It's a fun one. It's a fun watch, and I had to include it because, again, you know, Monkey Punch, directed by him.
Right.
So yeah, those were the 3 honorable mentions, and we can go into the top 5. They're not in any particular order, but yeah, these are the 5 ones that I really enjoyed. And up first is definitely going to be one that surprises a lot of people, and that is Lupin the Third vs. Detective Conan. Not the 2012 movie, the 2009 special. Directed by Hajime Kamagaki. Honestly, I know there are people that are not too happy with Detective Conan versus Lupin versus Detective Conan, but a lot of that comes from the 2012 movie, which isn't great. But the first special they did together it's a lot of fun. Like, I kind of wish that I was into Detective Conan because I think I would have even more fun with this than I did. But even still, because for a lot of it, especially early on, you follow Conan and his friends around. And then, you know, after about like 10 minutes or so into the movie, 10, 15 minutes, that's when we get that moment. We see people boarding a plane. There's a plane on the way. And then the Lupin music kicks in. Oh. The Lupin theme starts playing and you're just gripping your seat like, it's happening. They're coming.
It is time. The time has come.
And it's a great...
I have devastating news. Sweet Lost Night is not in print.
Aw.
Bummer.
That's sad.
Neither's Dead or Alive.
Aw. Well, you can always find them on the internet.
Well, that is one way.
But yeah.
Eternal Mermaid is in print currently.
Yep.
So that's good.
But anyways.
JD, order.
Do it. Yeah, no.
JD just buying shit mid-podcast.
Of course he is. Anyways, the synopsis for Lupin the Third vs. Detective Conan is, in a country called Vesperan, a new mineral with super stealth properties has been discovered, which attracts Lupin's attention. At the same time, the untimely deaths of Queen Sakura and her son, Prince Jill, leaves Princess Mira next in succession to the throne. During a trip to Japan, Princess Mira finds her double in Ran and takes the opportunity to trade places, which ends with Ran being spirited away, to Vesperan with Conan. Well, yeah, with Conan. Senigata, Kogoro Mori, Lupin, and Fujiko in tow. There they meet a waiting Jigen and solve the mystery of the deaths of the queen and prince. By the way, I love Jigen in this one.
Zenigata is working with Kogoro?
Yes.
To solve a mystery?
Yeah, or rather,
all right,
Kogoro kind of tags along because he wants to save his daughter, and Zenigata's like, you useless man. Can you do nothing right? Zenigata's a fucking competent cop in this one. It's interesting.
Well, compared to Mori, of course he is.
Fucking finally.
But I love Jigen
I mean,
in this
come
one.
on. Look, Zenigata is competent, but it depends on the environment.
I know, that's why it's so funny, because here he's like, in this one, he's literally the straight man. So it's like, I love it. But yeah, I love Jigen in this one, because Jigen has normally always been the straight man, but in this one, he is kind of tasked with keeping security in this kingdom. So he has kind of been picked to train the special forces there. And I love it because he's so giddy about it. He loves it, especially when they finally come to arrest him and Lupin. And then they're doing everything to kill them. And he's just like, Lupin's like, why are they being so extreme? And he's like, because I told them that the most important thing is to catch the person. It doesn't matter if they're alive or dead. So what's going to happen next? Well, next they're going to make sure that our escape vehicle is destroyed. And then you just see the helicopter they're running to blow up. And Lupin is fucking panicking. And she says, yeah! They're following orders.
I taught them well. I'm so proud of these people.
Yeah. It's so great. I love Jigen. He's a funny guy. Anyways. Yeah, no, definitely the 2009 Lupin the Third Detective Conan. A lot of fun. Especially if you're a fan of both of these. Do yourself a favor. Watch it.
Which I certainly am. I quite enjoyed this special a lot. This is coming from the guy who's seen almost every Lupin episode ever, and I'll admit it, seen almost every Detective Conan episode ever as well.
Here he comes. Finally, you are actually the first person I know to say that. Very hard to find those people. I know they are out there.
I am one of those. I am about 3 movies behind though, so I need to. I'm not up to date on those.
Oh no, it's cool. Like you've watched it more than I ever thought about doing. So
yeah, if you look at my anime list, I think if you put One Piece and Detective Conan together, it's like 25% of all the anime I've watched.
Jesus fucking Christ!
It's some absurd percentage number.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So the next one is Lupin the Third, Operation Return the Treasure, from 2003.
Operation Return the
Directed
Treasure.
by Jun Kawagoe. Yes, this one is quite different because rather than stealing, Lupin's job is to return treasure.
Oh.
Yes. So the synopsis is, after robbing a Moscow casino right under Senigata's nose, Lupin sets his sights on stealing the Trick Diamond. He and Jigen head to the estate of the recently deceased Mark Williams, another master thief who's had the diamond as well as other treasures in his possession for years. However, instead of finding the diamond, Lupin and Jigen find Fujiko, who tells them about Mark's dying wish. Lupin must return all the treasures the old thief stole to their rightful place. If this is done in time, the location of the diamond will be revealed, and Lupin can use it to get the real treasure, hidden in Gaudi's Sagrada Familia. Returning the stolen goods isn't easy, though, as Senigata and the casino boss's ruthless gang are on Lupin and friends' tail. So yeah, a lot of fun just watching Lupin trying to jumping in a stolen car, like fucking antique car, driving it through the streets, trying to fucking drive it into the museum, trying to figure out ways to distract guards so that he can switch fake false knockoffs of treasure that has already been stolen with the real one. It kind of reverses the whole psychology of Lupin. He has to like use his tricks to switch or put back.
This one is still in print as well. That's good news.
Yeah, that is good news. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, and especially at the end, like the whole thing behind the trick diamond and the real treasure, and just it's just a feel good movie in the end. I love this one. It's a lot of fun to watch. I feel like I say that every time. I mean, it's true, but you know.
If it wasn't like it has, how many specials does it has?
I mean, when
30?
I made this list,
let's put 30. Let's put 30. You're talking about a top 5 of like 30 specials. So yeah, of course, it's extremely fun to watch.
I mean,
you don't need to explain yourself.
When I was going to put together this top 5 list, initially I had 25 specials on the list, and then I had to pick from there. So yeah, I might enjoy Lupin just a little bit. Alright. And up next is one of the 3, I sadly haven't seen the third yet, but one of the 3 Takeshi Koike Lupin movies. And that is Lupin the Third, Goemon Ishikawa's Spray of Blood.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was...
It's, that is being released on Blu-ray in, I think, September 8th is the release date, and I am vastly anticipating that. Tori, I watched Jigan's Gravestone last weekend, and I lost my goddamn mind in Lupin happiness.
Oh yeah, it's Takeshi Koike does great stuff with Lupin.
Like, Christ, that is good. So I haven't seen Goemon's Blood Spray yet, because I'm just waiting for the Blu-ray now to come out, and I'm hopping on that in 2 seconds, and I might just be adding 2 more Lupin movies to that cart.
Yeah, no, it's like, again, like I said, Takeshi Koike's mission kind of with Lupin was to bring more the darker, edgy feel of it back. So, and that's what Goemon Ishikawa's Spray of Blood is as well. The synopsis is Lupin's
Spray
friend.
Of blood, not blood spray.
Spray of blood, blood spray.
Spray
of blood.
Hold on.
Spray of blood.
Yep.
Spray of blood.
Lupin and Fred. No, sorry.
This one says Goemon's Blood Spray on Right Stuff.
Yeah, who cares? It's the same thing.
No, it needs to be right.
Well, then Goemon Ishikawa's Spray of Blood is right. So you're wrong.
What are you talking about? It's blood spray.
No. Anyways, the synopsis: Lupin's friend, the samurai Goemon Ishikawa, takes a job as bodyguard for a Yakuza boss. But a brutal assassin kills the Yakuza, and Goemon is honor-bound to track him down. So essentially, we have this giant fucking American beard-looking...
Is this the movie with the James Bond villain with the Jaws?
Yes.
Yeah, the James Bond guy.
The Jaws.
Yeah,
it's the James Bond guy.
He's got the Jaws,
Glorious.
and he has 2 fucking he dual wields giant fucking like lumberjack axes, but they're like made of like some of the hardest steel ever. So like nothing can penetrate. Not even Goemon Santetsu can cut through them. Oh yeah,
impossible.
No, he's fucking strong. It's like
I've seen First Contact. That's not possible.
When the first fight Goemon has against this man, like he just runs up, like Goemon runs up to him to slash him, and fucking the dude just like grabs his sword, like he just grabs the sword to stop him, punches fucking Goemon straight in the fucking face, and then starts hammering loose at the like hilt of the sword to break. Since he can't break the actual sword, he breaks the hilt off it, and then fucking destroys Goemon. And for the rest of the movie, Goemon is just absolutely
so
broken.
Excited.
It's oh man, if you like more edgy Lupin and you want to see people, you want to see blood, you want to see people die, you want to see like just general fucking carnage, the Takeshi Koike movies, they're good.
That Fujiko movie, I have very high expectations for.
Oh, same. Oh yeah, no, I can't wait to get to watch
the lie of Fujiko Mina.
Yep, Fujiko Mina no Uso. Yeah. So that's not on this list because I haven't seen it yet. It is out, but I haven't seen it. So.
Oh, it came out?
Yeah.
Yeah. July, I think.
Wasn't it May? Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's out anyways.
All right, torrent site.
June, July. It was.
All right, and
I'm on my end release with fucking Takeshi Koike. Works open. I can look it.
All right. So up next is Lupin the Third, Walther P38, or Lupin the Third, Island of Assassins in English.
All right, so save that one.
Yeah, May 31.
Right,
Fujikomi no Uso came out in May, end of May.
I'm just gonna say it was directed by Hiroyuki
torrent
Yano.
sites don't have a hold of it quite yet.
Yeah, that's why I haven't seen it. But the moment it comes out, I am most definitely watching it.
It's very important. It's very important for our listeners to realize that right now.
Oh, you better really fucking. When I watch that movie, I'm making a video.
I need to watch the other Koike movies before also.
I guess you don't have to, in the sense that
I know, but it's on your fucking top list.
Yeah,
I gotta watch it.
I hope you do. But it's not in order to watch one of the other, you need to watch them. You can watch them in any order you want. They're not connected. They are individual stories focused on the character, the titular character. So Walther P38 was number 2, and number 1 is First Contact. So, we're going to talk about those two later.
All right, so we won't go into P38 and First Contact right now. That is on our 2 out of 3 movie list here that we're reviewing at the end of the cast here. So just to go over the honorable mentions again: Blood Seal, Eternal Mermaid, Sweet Lost Night, Dead or Alive.
Yes.
And then in order of Tori's mentioning, his top 5 were... What were they, Tori?
Lupin the Third versus Detective Conan. Lupin the Third...
Special.
Yep. Lupin the Third, Operation Return the Treasure. Lupin the Third, Goemon Ishikawa's Spray of Blood. Lupin the Third, Walther P38. Then Lupin the Third, Episode 0, First Contact.
All right.
Walther the Third.
One honorable mention, I'll say, which is a movie I liked more than Dead or Alive. Obviously, of course, my personal opinion was Napoleon's Dictionary. It was the 1991 movie.
Yeah, I ended up cutting that one. Like, eventually, I just kind of had to cut things blind because I didn't really want to cut anything.
Sure. Question.
Yes.
Have you seen Voyage to Danger?
Indeed, I have.
And no bueno?
I like Voyage to Danger, but again, it was also on my list, but again, it ended up being cut.
Okay.
So, it happens.
Right. Does happen. All right, let me make my little notes here. Okay, so before we get into the 3 movies, I'm going to play a nice little song drop. We've each come up with our favorite Lupin the Third, I guess, music intro, so to say.
Favorite version of the
theme?
Lupin the Third theme.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Thank you, Tori. That's why you're here.
The only reason.
Yeah, so we each picked a movie. So before we go into our personal movie picks, I'm going to play a nice drop that's going to last longer than usual, going over our favorite themes. So I'm going to play that right now, getting ready for my movie pick. Here we go. Okay. Nice little 30 seconds there. Nice and even. Right, guys?
Oh,
sure.
It was right? such a peaceful time listening to nothing. Although the jazzy feeling filled my soul with joy.
I could hear it. I could hear it in my head. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, I mean, everyone can. It's the same theme for 50 years now.
yeah, you can hear it. For those wondering, that is the Lupin the Third 1978 opening. That was my favorite one, and that'll get us into our first movie special, titled Lupin the Third: The Secret of Twilight Gemini. To me, I picked this because it's one of the more unique Lupin stories out there. This was something I came across on my quest, Tori, when I was looking through Lupin movies. And after going from, let's say, Cagliostro, and let's get this out of the way quick. Cagliostro is the Miyazaki one that's like Hickey mentioned earlier, that's one of the Lupin movies that everyone recommends.
Yeah.
So we could have easily just gone, let's recommend Cagliostro. Hell, that could be a cast in itself right there.
But since we have our resident Lupin specialist who didn't even put Cagliostro in his honorable mentions, we need to honor his memory. Well, he's not dead yet.
I've said this before, and I'll go out on it again and say that I don't particularly like Castle of Cagliostro.
I love Cagliostro personally. It's a lot of fun.
I think it's fun, but I think Lupin is fun. So
it's not a bad movie, but it's not one out of all the Lupin I've seen. It's not one that I go like, oh yeah, I really like this one. Like I kind of agree with Miyazaki on it. It's kind of not a kind of half-hearted ideas. Like the problem he had with it was that he didn't get enough time or people to properly make it, so they had to rush it in order to even get it finished by release date. And I don't feel like it lacks.
Even today, it's still one of the top animated.
I know,
movies.
But it's like I feel like one of the things I like about Lupin, like we spoke about, is the characters. I feel like a lot of the character dynamics are not quite present in Cagliostro, which is a little bit of a shame. Everyone's more stoic, not kind of calmed down, more like natural, I guess. But I don't want natural Lupin. I want crazy.
Yeah.
So that right there is my segue into why I chose this particular movie, because I rather like Cagliostro. I do agree that the characters are much more down to earth and it's a much more serious movie. So when I was watching all the Lupin movies, and when I got to this point in particular, when I came across Twilight Gemini, this reminded me a lot of what Cagliostro was doing. Mm-hmm. Much more down to earth, much more slow, simplistic story to it all. Everything comes together. It's a lot less on the comedy focus, even though there is still comedy in it, because, hey, it's Lupin at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Studio TMS Entertainment, as they all are. Director Gisaburo Sugi, hope I pronounced that right. Also director of Glass Mask, the original, and assistant director on Touch, boys and girls. Released August 2nd, 1996, so close to the anniversary. Recording this on August 3rd, for those wondering. So I describe this as a much more common Lupin movie. And by common, I mean the down-to-earth, like Cagliostro. I will read the summary from Anime Planet, and then we can start discussing. These will be, I think, shorter discussions for these movie specials. Okay. As one of Lupin's mentors lays dying in bed, he procures a small diamond, which he claims is a key to the lost treasure of the Gelts, a people who were once part of a now conquered empire. The diamond, called Twilight, leads Lupin and Jigen to Morocco, along with not only Inspector Zenigata, but also the head of Interpol. Lupin quickly becomes involved in much more than he bargained for when a showdown erupts between the Gelts and a faction headed by the son of the Geltish leader, both of whom want the diamond for themselves. So it's all about unlocking a treasure connecting these two pieces of a diamond together called Twilight. And there's a Geltish cult aspect to it, and government kind of... what would you call it? Almost a government coup taking place at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
what did you guys think of this movie, especially compared to other Lupins that we're more familiar with? And then I'll get into my thoughts.
Yeah. No, definitely. I agree with you. It is definitely more down to earth. I still say it maintains a little bit more of that like common Lupin brand of comedy, but it's not as in your face as it could be. This is one of those ones where Lupin got a little bit more turned down. He's not because I think this is around that time where they kind of tried to rid Lupin of that more rapey personality that he used to have.
The 80s. Yeah. They were strange times.
Yeah, he was very in people's pants.
Lupin in the 80s, let me tell you, boys.
Yep. Nazi references and sexual assaults. Good times.
Anyways.
But yeah, no, so there's a lot less.
He must have been hanging out with the character from City Hunter.
Yeah. That said, this is one of those movies that's why it was clued onto me the first time, where there actually is a sex scene of sorts between Fujiko and Lupin. It was originally sold to me as uninterrupted sex scene. I would say that kind of depends on how you want to see it. Someone does show up at the end, but they do show up. So completely uninterrupted, no. But it is interesting. A little bit. I mean, what I was about to say, a little bit typical, a little bit like obvious, but it is Lupin. It's like you realize that there is pretty quickly realize that there is something wrong with the head of Interpol. Like he seems a little bit more shady than he should, and stuff like that. So, but I'm not exactly going to fault it for that. This is Lupin. That's not uncommon. It's not like they tried to hide who the villain is. Even when they do hide.
It's never the case, right? You always know. It's like, there's only like two people it could possibly be.
It's Inspector Zenigata.
The day Zenigata turns heel is the day I will. I don't know what I'll do, but it's definitely going to be something. Lupin Part 6. Do it, you cowards.
That's what Lupin did in Part 5, anyways. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's an enjoyable one, definitely. This too was on my list, but ended up getting cut.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problems I have with it are technical issues.
Do tell.
Yeah, frame rate and not having enough time and money to make it, so they had to cut down a little bit on the frames. Lupin is not hairy, which is a sacrilege.
Yeah.
He need the hairy arms.
He was not channeling his inner monkey punch.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. The villains are weak, to be honest with you. Alright, I mean, I cannot complain with the villains, because usually they're quite weak. But
they're cartoon villains, essentially.
Yeah, this time Goemon appears out of nowhere. Honestly doesn't have a lot of impact, because it's just like, you betrayed our ways, like out of nowhere. He's in Morocco trying to kill the guy.
Yeah, he kind of just has to fight that dude, and then he's like, I don't want to fight you, go away.
Yeah, like he appears. It's not.
Who the hell
natural.
are you? Get the fuck out of here! I'm busy doing this thing over here.
I'm trying to kill Lupin, Dad.
Yeah. It's not natural. It's not organic. He just appears there to kill one of the assassins because he needs to be in the movie. I honestly didn't like it. This part.
Yeah, I didn't.
But I like him not. Yeah, I like him not looking at Fujiko naked, because how he is. Very, very fun. I enjoyed the story, enjoyed the end of the story, because, we all know that's the ending of One Piece, but without the treasure. And, it's very fun. It's very grounded as well. I guess, like you said, especially when we will talk about Walther P38, which is also, it's way more grounded than this one. It is the same time frame where they are trying to reformulate kind of a little bit of the personality of the characters. And weirdly enough, Fujiko in this movie retained most of the comic relief.
Mm.
Instead of of course you have like the sexy Fujiko, but it's not so much. In this movie, she's more of a comical character.
One of those movies where she had her...
With the sex scene, it's funny, it's hilarious. She being tortured, and it's just she's staying there hanged naked, and then at the end just
it's where you
saying
really...
there's no treasure, fuck your friendship, and kicking the wall, and she's definitely
that's the
more
One
of a...
Piece ending. That's the One Piece ending we're all dreading,
Yeah.
and I can totally see Nami just going, "Oh, power of the heart? Fuck you! You couldn't have left a diamond? Crack."
No, I think it's funny because like it is definitely one of those movies, or it is part of Lupin, where you're really gonna get to familiarize yourself with Fujiko's catchphrase, as I like to call it, "Nani o."
Nani, yeah.
Not the bio.
No, but she says that all the time.
Yeah. It's quite.
Well, yeah, like she's more instead of the frustrated, she's more in the instead of the sexy, she's more in the frustrated comic relief character in this one, which is a little bit odd, you know. You still have Zenigata with the old man going around trying to catch Lupin. Very fun. The last conflict also very, very, very fun. Very fun to watch, even with the technical problems. I still think it's a very fun Lupin to watch, especially because we have one of the rarest Lupin jackets. The badge, the safari badge, Lupin.
Yeah, he does start out with his trademark red jacket, but as soon as he gets to Morocco, which is where this story takes place, he switches to the, as you said, more of a safari beige type color, which is, I didn't even notice it until you had brought it up. I'm like, wait, no, he had a red jacket, right? No, he switches like after 20 minutes in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so I found the character designs. This is what I have always noticed, because whenever there's a new director, Tori, you brought this up earlier, where there's always a different director or person in charge of a Lupin movie or special, even TV show, and they always change the character designs to kind of a different perspective. They tweak the characters just a little bit, just enough to make them unique to this particular story. And in this one,
missed by $1 character designs. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I found these very appealing in this one. They're much more simple. Fujiko looks way different.
Yeah.
But I quite liked how different she looks.
I recognized by the voice.
Oh yeah, the voice you recognize right away, but
like, who the fuck is this blondie? I was like, oh, hold on a second, this is Fujiko. Oh,
shit. I obviously I recognized her right away, but like that's because after a certain point that kind of becomes the thing. At least for me, it's like how quickly can you spot Fujiko? And then you see, for whatever reason, you see the busty woman in camera, and it's like I look at her in this one, I'm like, is that Fujiko? It's like then she starts talking.
Yeah,
like,
even then you
Fujiko.
question in this one. well, like a lot of other Lupin movies, there's always the woman rival, I guess you could say.
The Lupin girl. If we have
the Lupin girl in the movie, kind of like the Bond girl.
We have the Lupin girl.
Yeah.
So I really thought that was going to be the Bond girl in this one when I first saw it. Saw her.
I thought the same, but I was like, no, wait, it's way too early in the movie to the Lupin girl to appear. So I was like, is that? And then she starts speaking. I was like, oh, that's Fujiko. Oh, what?
There's always a grandiose intro to the Lupin girl, right? This one did not. It was just, hey, we're at a bar. Anyways, the characters designs are by Minoru Maeda, whom also has helped do character designs on Dragon Ball, Dr. Slump, Touch, and many more. So you can definitely kind of see where that design comes from now.
Yeah, the round eyes.
Yeah. So the shonen was very heavy in the character designs. So that makes more sense. I didn't know that until I was looking into it, making the notes for the podcast as I do. And I go, oh, okay. No wonder I liked it so much. It takes a good 12 to 15 minutes just to get something going in the movie due to the much more heavy plot setup and just the setting itself. So that's something to be aware of. It takes another 15 minutes to get that next plot going finally. So they have to first get to Morocco, then you understand the plot in Morocco. So that's the effort there. So kind of, I don't know, would you guys compare it to A Night of the Galactic Railroad, our previous cast, and how long it took for something to finally get going in the movie?
No, not really. I think it establishes itself, like not the entire thing, but that's fine. Everything needs a beginning, middle, and an end, anyways. So it's like, because like I said in Night of the Galactic Railroad, Night of the Galactic Railroad kind of suffers with the fact that it has a beginning and an end, but not really a middle part. So
this definitely has a middle.
Yeah. So it's like I feel like it's more so that like it gives you something to go on. Then we move the setting to over here. Now we need to set up something more, which leads into this main thing that's then gonna accumulate at the end. So I still feel like Lupin has a better this movie has a better like story structure.
Oh, I agree. It's I've just, this is just how it's structured.
Mm-hmm.
It does this and this in 30 minutes, and then so it's an hour and a half, which is all these, by the way.
Yeah.
And for 30 minutes to get to the whole setup of the movie, which then goes into an hour of straight, all right, here we go. Now it's just flowing from there. I quite enjoyed it, personally. I thought it made a much more grasping plot than a lot of other Lupin movies do, where it's just, and for those that don't know, a lot of Lupin, whether it's a major movie or a special, always involve usually a good 5 to 10 minute action sequence setup, where it's just nonsensical comedy and, cars going everywhere. Cagliostro even had it.
Senegata chasing Lupin on a motorcycle up a advertising board through the mouth of it. And
oh yeah, the whole Scooby-Doo scene. Yeah. Was that Napoleon's Dictionary, actually?
I think so, yeah.
I think it might have been. Yeah, so you get that this one didn't have any of that. It was Lupin over this dying old man that he has a connection to, and then how this dying old man has a connection to the that's what drives him to go to X place, in this case Morocco, and then discover the even more deeper plot to all that. So it all connects together, and it's easy to follow. A lot of which a lot of Lupin movies just don't have.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where this one grabbed me personally. Okay, what did everyone think? We kind of mentioned what our thoughts of Fujiko in this being the comic relief. I found it as a breath of fresh air. What about Lara, this movie's Lupin girl? The I guess princess of the Gelts, you could say, who she is.
Quite basic, I guess.
Yeah.
I honestly don't.
She's definitely not my favorite of all of them. That's for sure.
She serves her purpose, but honestly, I can't really think of much in regards to her. I remember the scene where she is sinking into the fucking
the quicksand.
Yeah, the quicksand.
The quicksand.
Go on without me. Fuck it.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. Like, she doesn't make a huge impression. Like, I don't hate her. It's not like when she's on screen, I'm like, I'll get her off. But she's there. She's fine.
Okay, so here's a question that I'll ask.
Well, I mean, there's the belly dance scene at the end.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But again,
that's all in the credits,
they didn't have a lot of money, so it goes on with like 2 frames per second.
Yeah.
This is a question I'm going to pose in the next 2. Okay.
Okay.
So, personally, to make a exceptional Lupin special movie or even episode series, especially part 4 and part 5, what we've seen, what makes it exceptional is the Lupin girl and her impact with not only just Lupin, but the overall story. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I thought she served her purpose in the story aspect, but what doesn't make this a top Lupin movie to me, I still vastly enjoy it, but if Laura had more of Lupin's heart, I guess I'll phrase it that way, if she had more of that sex appeal and a full rival to Fujiko, we might say, I think that would have put it over the edge and making it a great Lupin movie. Know what I mean?
I understand. I agree, but I disagree because of Walther P38.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk later.
We will get to that point.
Yeah.
Because we have a very good Lupin girl, but she's not in the sexy side. She never is on the sexy side. She never rivals Fujiko, but still she's very impactful to the story. She's very impactful to Lupin, especially because
I do have an opinion on her as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's because we are on the verge of hitting the climax of the characters changes from the 80s to the late 90s.
Sure.
And so she fits very well to what she's designed. But let's wait that one.
Yeah. No, because I did want to kind of counter that is like we've seen some pretty good Lupin movies as well, or Lupin specials as well. Like I said, where Lupin has where the Lupin girl is essentially Lupin's sidekick, and it's a younger girl or someone who's not a love interest. Someone who's
like
not
you
a love
said,
interest.
in Mermaid.
Yeah. Right, and it's so like it becomes like. As much as he doesn't want to, they want him as like a mentor, or he has to protect him in some way. When there's been some Lupin specials where they do that pretty well. I feel like, so I don't think like it necessarily needs to be like they need to like have big. Of course they need to have story relevance, but they need to like be sexy or win it. So it's like not.
Oh yeah,
really?
yeah.
That's
not a Bond girl. You don't need a Bond girl.
Have to be.
Yeah.
But I think. Where I'm getting at is Laura is clearly that age, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where she could be.
I understand you because
yeah.
Let me clarify to you, and then we can keep on from my clarification.
Okay. She
stands in a very weird place because you know the intention, and you know like the intention she's not as sexy, but she should be. She's not as relevant, but she should be.
Yes,
and they are trying to make a parallel between Lupin's story with her and Dalude's story with her grandmother. Right? Because, you have the princess and you have the French guy going there to fight and fighting for them. They fall in love, have a child, and, they are trying to make this the parallel. But the problem is, Dalude's story is way more impactful than Lupin's story this time. With going there and fighting invaders, losing, having one night of love with the woman of his life. From that, you have a child. The child grows, have a child as well. The grandchild finds Lupin, and then they start the story. It's way more impactful, and when they try to make that parallel, especially with the ending of this one, where they don't do anything, they just kiss by the end, and it was like, oh, okay, see, hopefully our grandchildren will find themselves together again.
Yeah,
it's not as it's not as good as the story they are trying to make a parallel to.
Yeah, Hickey, I'm sorry, Tori, I gotta get this out real quick.
Okay.
That's what I was alluding to, is you have the parallel, right, between the past and the present. And I thought that was a major miss. I thought, man, because they're even holding hands and they have the kiss and everything, and then it's just, yeah, what a coincidence, right? I was like,
they already hold hands.
Yeah.
It's like almost there.
Man, if Laura just had just that extra edge on her, where you felt that this could have led to that one night in Morocco, right?
Yes. That's why she stands in a very weird place.
Yeah.
She's innocent, but not so much. And
yeah, she instead of being this forefront character,
she doesn't have the time because of how the story is being told, but they still spend a bunch of time together doing nothing. It's really, she stands in a very weird ground.
Yeah, that whole presentation, that's what was missing. For, like, you want to talk about going from, like, a 6, 7, 8 out of 10 to a 9, 10 out of 10, that, to me, it's Laura in this movie. That's what was missing for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, the only thing I want to say, like, when it comes to, like, the Lupin girl, like, you can just think of it and why it doesn't need that. Like, think of, for example, Ami from Part 5, right? Obviously, Ami does eventually fall in love with Lupin.
I love Ami.
Yeah.
We can talk about Ami all day.
But there's no like love back, right? Because he's too old for her.
Well, they even make that very clear. Like, what does Fujiko mean to you and all that? Yeah.
Right. So it's like
that was very well done.
Do stuff without having that like mutual attraction, if that makes sense, right? So it's like it depends, but again, it needs to make sense. Obviously, I do agree with you.
Well,
I do agree that they kind of missed the mark with Lupin.
If you're willing to die in the Sahara with a woman, you were feeling something.
Oh yeah, no, that's my point.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's my point. That's why it's like in this one they do kind of chicken away at the end. It's like, yeah, that might not necessarily be love. I mean, it could just be like admiration. It's like, really, fucking really.
Yeah, it should have been more. With the way it was presented, it should have been more.
Yeah.
Hey man, they held hands. That's pretty lewd.
I don't need that shit. That's like saying all women should wear long dresses.
That's also a fetish.
I don't need the hand holding. I want to see full on French kissing. Moroccan kissing. I don't know what that is, but that needed to be in there.
Guns involved.
Oh no! Oh, there's an African. Okay.
Excuse me. What do you want to say? Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Lupin used to be pretty racist.
Boy, did he!
I didn't even think about that.
I mean, even in this one, when you have the gay assassin, the subtitles, "You fucking queer." You are ruining my fucking night with Fujiko with your fucking gayness. It's so great.
Yeah. Oh boy. I will say, Fujiko naked in this movie, I approve.
Oh yeah.
Every single fucking time.
Oh, I was like, oh my god. Please stop. It's been a while.
Please stop. Hell no, keep going.
And you know
You're
what's
gonna make me pause the movie, please. I gotta watch this tonight.
Do you know what's better about all of this? One, there's no censorship. Two, they have nipples.
Oh yeah.
They do. They have all that. I think that's probably why this movie isn't in print anymore.
Nah.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer. I would buy this movie, by the way, if it was available. Okay. So anyways, we got 2 more movies to talk about. And this when I did reveal this list to some people that asked directly why we chose this time period. Well, first of all, it kind of just happened. When we were talking, we got to each choose a movie or special.
Yeah. Mine was just a throw in, so it was actually by luck.
Mine was suggested to you. Thank you.
The other reason is this is a time period when there wasn't a TV show going on. Mm-hmm. So this was that time period when there was nothing but movies and specials, and this is an important Lupin span of time where this is how the series stayed alive during this particular era, and it's I found it very, very important.
I mean, yeah, if we're gonna talk about everything, we already saw part 1 reviewed it. Part 2,
it's 150 plus episodes.
Yeah,
I've already seen it.
Horrible. Part 3 is just horrible. Not the part 3, but the content is just lost most of the time.
Yeah, and the quality is subpar.
Then we have our 15-year rule. So that's go up to 2003, meaning we cannot make part 4
or 5.
And 1994 up to 2005, there's a major transformation in the anime industry.
Yeah. That's a good time.
And we talk about it, and Lupin is a survivor from that change, from that transformation. So yeah, it is very interesting to see at that period where everything was changing, how he survived. Even if it meant to lose a few fans, I guess, from old age probably, but still.
All right, so final scores of Twilight Gemini. I gave this an 8 out of 10, probably a little bit higher than I probably should. And this is the second time through it, and I still maintain that. I haven't watched a lot of post-2000 Lupin movie specials. Mm-hmm. So keep that in mind. So think of all the movie specials and series between 1970 and now. I found this to be one of the... essentially, the score is based off of the other Lupin properties that are out to this date. Essentially. And I found this to be one of the better experiences I've had. And it was a great breath of fresh air. The character art is what stood out to me the most in this, and I adored it. And I loved the character interactions. And the only thing keeping it for me, really, from exceeding that is the animation. A lot of start and stop kind of stuff going on there. So that's subpar. And the weak Lupin girl, the way it was presented to us in Lara. And I don't know if you guys caught this, but Fujiko was always dressed in Tomb Raider Lara Croft gear, like the entire movie. And then with the Lupin girl being named Lara, I was like, come on, guys. 1996.
Oh,
it's right there.
No, there are so many hidden references in Lupin. It's I say hidden. They're not really that hidden, but yeah, no, there's a lot of that. So just if you like trying to find references and stuff, try to pick different Lupin specials apart. There's always something.
There's always something very timely, whether it's the gaming industry or like a certain James Bond movie had just come out during that time, so it's all there in front of you. That's pretty much my theory as to why Lupin managed to stay somewhat relevant the entire time. It kept James Bond has stayed relevant.
Well, yes. No, but like because it still kept up on like what people wanted. Like it's still Lupin, but it's also like it changes just enough for it to still fit people's taste, and people would still find something in it that they could enjoy, even if they weren't, fucking sitting in front of their TV watching part 1 every week.
Shout out to the Retro Gaming Podcast. Our recent one was just over James Bond games. Good little coincidence there.
All these coincidences lately.
Yeah. Scores, Hickey, go.
Strong 7.
Strong 7. I can agree.
Yeah, there's problems with the villains, problems with Goemon appearance, problems with the Lupin girl. She's standing in a very weird ground where they didn't know what to do with her.
Her character design was outstanding, though. The headband.
Yeah. The little bob hair she rocks. Oh. Yeah. The parallel between the past and the present wasn't well made, because the past story was way better than the movie, let's be real. And also technical and quality problems. But aside that, still very Lupin-esque, very fun. 7 is a good one. 7 is a good number for this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that. I also give it a 7. I enjoyed it. It lacks a little bit to stand out to me as like one of the top Lupin specials, but it's a good one. Like, there's no problem watching it. And again, Fujiko's sex scene. Like, there are, for as many times as you've seen her naked, there really aren't that many of them. They always end in someone coming in and being like, no! Or, punching glove coming out of her private parts. Something. There's always something.
Oh, man, been there.
And if you think I'm joking, I'm not.
Baby, let's get it on. Oh, where'd this punching glove come from? Oh, talk about a Saturday night.
All right. So,
God damn it.
Moving on to the next one.
I'm really happy you guys enjoyed this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one, which is Hickey's pick. Hold on, because I have Hickey's favorite theme to play now. Here we go. Alrighty, so that was Lupin the Third theme from 1989. Talk about a banger, I will admit. That's a good one, Hickey. I quite like that.
Oh yeah. It's such a the middle of that song is so strong.
Yeah,
so good. Just for your soul. Just that. Lupin music's always good. Like, let's get that out of the way right now. Like, no matter, we're not talking about the music because the music is always good.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things that it's just kind of universal, which is why I was a little bit scared when we move away from the mainline Lupin and you don't have Yuji Ono's jazz anymore. But even if you go to something like The Woman Called Fujiko Mina, the music in that one is still strong, even though it's not Yuji Ono or jazz. It's just it's something they always get.
Praise be to Yuji Ono, am I right, guys?
Oh yeah.
Praise be.
Although, please stop hiding your Lupin theme in other songs all the time. Like, I love it, but at the same time, you confuse me whenever a song starts, and I'm like, hey, Lupin! No, wait, this isn't Lupin.
Alright, Hickey, so this was your movie pick you fell into. Tell us about it, and the summary and the whatnot.
I went with a recommendation because I was between a few movies. The other one was From Russia with Love, because it reminds me of James Bond. I think
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about a lot about...
From Russia with... Hold on. Didn't I just play that game? Agent Under Fire, Night Fire... Oh, no, it was Everything or Nothing. That's what I just played. Okay, continue. I'm sorry. That's another shout out to the Retro Gaming James Bond podcast.
Yeah, no, James Bond, I mean, many people don't know that. But it's actually a bunch of books.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that the author is English. Just saying. I don't think he's British. I think he's Canadian. But they are books. They're quite old books. And that's why, Lupin takes a lot of inspiration, I guess, from the books, not so much from the movies. And since I had all those specials in front of me, and all of them had James Bond titles, I was like, okay, I need to choose one. And out of recommendation from our Lupin specialist, he said, well, Walther P38 is a fun one. And then I said, maybe this other one. And then JD just said, no, you're going with P38. You don't have a choice.
Okay, we did you a favor. From Russia with Love is not that great.
Look, I know, but we need to review more shit.
I do like how we came to that view. We're like, this is supposed to be a fun special, celebrating Monkey Punch.
Look, we need to celebrate not only the good times, but the bad times as well. That's what makes life precious.
Yeah, we can do that another time.
We could do that another time. This is not the time to do that.
Look, you guys will not complain about the next anime I will recommend for the podcast then.
Oh boy. I look forward to 2020.
You know what? We're almost coming up on that one show that Hickey suggested to us like months and months and months ago.
A year ago?
True. Anyway, it is Lupin the Third, Walther P38, and Walther P38 is the iconic Lupin pistol. It is also called in English Lupin the Third, Island of Assassins, or Lupin the Third in memory of Walther P38. It was released in 1997 which means it was exactly 1 year after Lupin III: The Secret of Twilight Gemini. And it was Gemini.
Yeah, August 1st. Yeah, crazy. Yeah. 2 days off this one.
Made by TMS Entertainment and directed by Hiroyuki Yano, which didn't do much things. JD listed Monster Rancher as like his direction, like his only direction thing.
I think it gives a good perspective on this guy's directorial.
Yeah, and I agree with it. But then you have like everyone in this one is kind of not famous.
Mm-hmm.
But you have the character design, a guy called Kizaki Fuminori, which is also a director, and he directed Afro Samurai and Basilisk.
Blue Gender for the character designs.
And yeah, he made the character designs for Blue Gender and Jinga Tetsudo Monogatari, or the Galaxy Railways. But he's the director of Afro Samurai and Basilisk. So he had a little bit of influence on how this Lupin movie was made, for sure, for what we see. Anyway, the synopsis is... See if I'm reading the right one. Yes. Yes. After receiving a note from Lupin, Zenigata arrives at the birthday party of a rich politician. Sure enough, as he sees Lupin, who tells him the note is fake and he's there to find out who sent it. Okay, the sentence is incomplete. However, mayhem ensues when a gang of masked assassins known as Tarantula gatecrash the party, killing all in sight. During the commotion, Zenigata is shot by a man wielding a Walther P38, an engraved white Walther P38, a gun that Lupin recognizes all too well. Then, when Lupin sneaks onto the uncharted island that serves as Tarantula base, not only he's forcibly recruited into the group, but he's also get caught up in a deeper plot that splits the assassins in two. Can Lupin set the score from his past and maybe snag some gold along the way? Yeah. So, JD, do your host thing.
Yeah. So I'll give my little opinion on this movie. So compared to Twilight Gemini, the special that came out a year prior, this takes on a much more different approach, as Twilight Gemini took upon what I believe to be the Cagliostro approach of more down-to-earth, a more structured layout of a story. This takes a action-based focus story, which I can also appreciate. It's two different approaches, I believe, accomplishing the same task. You want a story a drawn-out story focus, Twilight Gemini. You want that action focus, that more James Bond feel, without the, of course, James Bond girl focus. Then Walther P38 is for you. This has that crazy action intro sequence that we're more familiar with in many Lupin specials. Crazy car chases, music going, credits playing.
But not as funny.
It's not as comic based, that's for sure.
It's especially in the body, which is basically a carnage. And we got Zenigata getting shot in the heart.
Yeah, and that's that to me. That's one of those like fucking. You want to hook someone, you kill Zenigata at the fucking opening, and you're just like, what? Wait.
Yeah, you kill one of the main groups. Yeah.
They just said it. I remember watching that when that happened. I was just at that point I was just locked in. Like, I need to know what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
I know he's not going to die, but.
Well, here's the thing, though.
He did.
First of all, he actually does die, technically. I'll just say this joke right now.
Technically. He dies.
Yeah.
It's not technically.
So, Zenigata gets shot in the heart with the old Walther P38. he flatlines. The doctor checks his pulse, shakes his head. He's like, what a good man, kind of deal. And the police captain goes, he will live on in his memory. I will capture Lupin for him. And as soon as Lupin's name is spoken, not only does Zenigata fully revive with a strong pulse, he goes like he was never shot in the first place. He's like, I'll get that guy. Puts the doctor in a headlock, wrestling style, Hulk Hogan style, and he's ready to go. Tori, I howled in laughter. Howled.
Oh, yeah.
I just cracked up. It was nonstop. I just go, oh my god, I need to let this be known to the world that Zenigata not only dies, Lupin's name is his resurrection pill.
I love it, though, because at that point you still kind of think that there isn't really, this is going to be very serious and not so much comedy. And then, we'll arrest Lupin. Yeah, I'll arrest Lupin. Lupin! Where? I'll get him.
Where is that son of a bitch? I'll get him.
I mean, the good thing about this movie as well, because since you have Zenigata, like everyone in the fucking Interpol trying to make Zenigata just lay down in a bed as a side story, that is your comic relief. Mm-hmm. So they can have a more dry humor. Of course, you still have a bunch of funny moments in the actual story, but you can have a more sarcastic humor from time to time. You know,
yeah, with Zenigata trying to ditch the hospital, to eating food, to him falling down the stairs and his leg basically being broken.
That is,
yeah.
You know, we had another special called Fujiko's Unlucky Day, but they could have easily titled this one Zenigata's Unlucky Day.
Yeah.
So, anyways, back to my thoughts. There's a lot. There's an interesting dialogue to this movie with how, like, this is one that stood out to me. You have the Island of Assassins, which, by the way, I am very upset with, because when I made my Right Stuff order to get First Contact and Walther P38, Walther P38 did not come in. Apparently, they ran out before they could ship it for me.
Boo, Right Stuff. You're getting a bad review from us.
It did not come in within the time frame for this podcast. Thumbs down.
That you had 3 weeks to prepare, but you decide to make the fucking order 2 days ago.
Incorrect. I made it 3 weeks ago, I believe, or 2 weeks ago.
See, 2 weeks, not enough.
My order came in just in time for First Contact. Anyways, it's fine. I'll just make more Lupin orders, and we'll see what movies come in by whatever. So they get to the Island of Assassins. The evil villain of this movie, he's called Gordo. Right, your kind of Cajun French name.
The French guy.
Yeah, the French guy. He orders Lupin to be captured for the, of course, the overthinking plot of the next assassin contract. Need Lupin, but my favorite line in this movie is definitely the fellow assassins are in a room. It's like this long camera shot as this, like, there's 20 of them there, and one goes, capture him. Surely you misheard, beat him to death. I just go, oh my god. I love the lines of this movie. They just know it so well. They know my humor.
Yeah. No, the assassins. I appreciate the fact that Hickey also pointed out that, you know, there is this basilisk tie-in, because goddamn it, these assassins, they are from basilisk. I don't even give a shit. The whole thing with the poison and fucking just like, we murder shit. No, you're gonna capture him alive. No, fuck you, we'll murder him.
Clearly you misspoke. Murder him. Like, but no, specifically beat him to death. Yeah. Like, oh, that's not even close.
Don't worry, we'll let him into our group. We're just going to test his skills and fight him first. Should you stop, otherwise you're going to kill him? No stopping. Fighting to death.
We must, if we beat him to death, 20 versus 1, clearly he's not good enough. What was another one? Oh yeah, what's going on right now? Well, it's the manhunt. And they're just hunting this dude because the most dangerous game is man, and he's just like, guys, I can still murder. Yeah, but we're already trying to murder you and all. We can't stop now. Once an assassin loses his ability to kill, he's worthless to us. So then we murder him in a game of hunt.
Says the woman who can kill anyone.
Yep. Says the woman who can kill anyone, but hesitated in the very first scene. And her capturing blue eyes were a good focus to her and who she represents. Although she gets she gets a backstory, but who cares? She's sexy, but who cares?
Hey,
Lupin goes, I don't want to fight.
I care. I like her.
She was fine. She wasn't your Lupin girl. I didn't feel the mentor-esque. I didn't feel the Lupin girl-esque. She just felt like she was a character to advance the plot. I thought she was a weak Lupin character. Did it bother me to what the story was and the action aspect to it? No. So it didn't affect how I saw the movie, really in any way. It's just something that I associate with Lupin is you gotta have a Lupin girl. Who's the Lupin girl? In this one, her name's Ellen. She was kind of born into this assassin world, and she also has this heart of gold.
I would say her biggest problem is the fact that like a lot of the stuff you learn about it, you kind of learn on the fly as it's necessary. There's isn't too much like build up in advance. You don't know much about her until it's like, oh yeah, by the way, she is a good person because here, this is why. Also, she is trying to work out with these guys to cure the poison and get off this island because here's why. And by the way, there's a lot of people trying to overthrow this system, which kind of surprised me with all these bloodthirsty people running around. But hey,
yeah, I figured there'd be like 10 of them at tops, but yeah. It's like half the island.
Yeah, and they're still undermanned.
Yeah, I was actually comparing Ellen to Lady Snowblood in the origin story to it all. You're born into this assassin world, you're born into vengeance kind of deal, and yet Lady Snowblood has a heart of steel, or black darkness, and Ellen has that heart of gold and compassion, despite the upbringing. Tale of Two Cities situation there.
Yeah.
Anyways, Gordo, the evil leader of Tarantula, I really liked. I thought he's been one of the stronger villains. Maybe the whole action-packed aspect to this particular Lupin movie. What is the word I'm looking for? Not compromised. Shit.
I have no idea what you're trying to say. I would say
complimented. There we go.
Right.
The action aspect with this particular evil villain, they complemented each other quite well. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. What I like about him especially, because obviously, villains, again, we've spoken about Lupin villains, they're very often cartoon villains, and I would still put this guy as a bit of a cartoon villain, but the thing that sells him is that he actually comes off as a threat, because he does lock Lupin into a situation in which you might normally be able to just easily deal with these situations, but you cannot deal with me. You are in a situation in which you can't even touch me, or even you can't touch me, you can't steal from me, you have to figure out how to break free from this poison that I have infested you with. If you're at all going to try to figure out how to do anything, you're trapped. So he does he does a good job in that. He comes off as a real threat to Lupin, which a lot of villains just don't.
Yeah, I mean, I guess more the circumstances or the dreadful circumstances are more of a challenge for
yeah, of course,
for Lupin than the actual villain. Although that little bit where he throws the P38 at Lupin and says, "Shoot me, I dare you, shoot me," and see what happens. Lupin can't even react fast enough to avoid the guy. Yeah, Especially like when we're talking about a guy who fights Goemon on a daily basis.
Yeah.
That's something to consider. Yeah.
All right. Thoughts on Fujiko in this movie in particular?
I mean, it's not
quite absent. Quite absent, but doing her original role as a thief.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like it's not my favorite one with Fujiko because again, I do like Fujiko, so I want her present as much as possible. But it's like
I am in agreement, Tori.
Yeah, but it is. I get it. Like it's kind of hard to involve her too much unless, of course, you want to capture her too. But that wasn't in the cards. So she becomes the unfortunate like locked character kinda. There isn't, but it's kind of the same thing with all the sidekicks of Lupin in this one. They're sidelined.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah. They're all kind of sidelined because it's not. It becomes almost more of a survival story rather than your typical heist. So yeah, they're kind of locked in what they can and can't do. So I like it, but obviously I do want them there. It's just it's hard to implement, Unless of course you just want to do that thing that they sometimes do, where it's like, oh, he gets captured, but then they come and they break him out, and then they break back in, and then.
So I want to play off that because that was a major. I think that could be a major aspect of this movie that could throw people off. Your Lupin cast, Fujiko, Jigan, Goemon, even the Lupin girl, Ellen, in this case, they don't have major roles, so to say. They're locked into their roles. They're locked into their specific plot device, right? Fujiko is meant to be the member that was sent ahead of time to gather information. All right, she's kind of done there. You get a not a nude scene, but you get her with one of the assassins. She's trying to gather information. You have Goemon being sent there as the bodyguard. Then he has his little fight scene. Jigan is there to accompany Lupin, which is more or less his usual role, more or less. But it's even more so, I think, focused in this that he is there just to accompany.
Yep.
Rather than have his own point to it. We'll get to first contact with Jigan. He's quite amazing in that one. But yeah, it's an action survival, and that's the purpose. How is Lupin going to survive, and how's he going to get his gang and even Ellen out of all this together? Is that necessarily a bad thing? I think this movie handled it quite well, personally.
Yeah, no, like, I do, again, that's why I want to stress, like, I like what they do. Again, when I say that I don't like that the characters are sidelined, or the side characters, the rest of the Lupin gang is sidelined, is because I do like them as characters, and they do add a lot to Lupin in general. But it is a case of, like, you need to play to what you're doing, and the standard Lupin thing with the help of his crew and whatnot, kind of it wouldn't work. They couldn't like seamlessly integrate that into this. It wouldn't.
Right. How is say Goemon gonna help get the poison antidote?
Yeah.
Or make one?
Yeah.
Right. You need the doctor in this who has a major role.
Yeah. No, but not even that. Like, let's say that they decide to just throw them all in there, let them all become assassins, let them all get poisoned. They would still kind of be locked into a role of just following Lupin around, right? Which wouldn't really be that interesting either. Right. So it's like it's a shame that they had to be sacrificed, but it's also kind of a necessary sacrifice for what they do with the story.
Yeah, I mean, at least they come out to play later.
Yeah, in the end,
with they come back. I guess we're talking. It's 1997. Lupin has properties being done since the 60s. Oh, let's put the 70s because part one. And then we grow used to the gang having multi-roles. And then this one, they are locked, yes, to roles very reminiscent to the original roles. In the pilot, in the part 1, even in episode 0. Except Goemon. But Goemon is just a guy who's there to slice things. Doesn't have a lot of a role. Or try to kill Lupin as well, because he likes doing that.
I do like his scene where they reference, he's probably stuffing his face because he hasn't eaten really anything in 2 weeks. Yeah. And so Jigon's there making him rice, like on the fly as he wants it, and then he hands him some pickled plums, and Goemon gets a tear in his eye. You were too kind. Yeah. And that plays into later. It's like, why'd you cut the red wire? Because of pickled plums.
It's something. No, I just like every time Hickey points out the fact that, like, you know, Lupin fighting Goemon. Because all I can think back to is that, like, highlight reel in part 5 for every scene in Lupin in general, where Goemon and Lupin has fought.
Yeah,
there's all a lot.
The
time.
Yeah. All right, so I love the villain death in this one, because inevitably the villain will always die in a Lupin movie in some, like, horrid fashion. In the case of what's his face?
Gordo?
Not Gordo. I'm thinking of Twilight Gemini. His is very forgettable, obviously, since I can't even remember it.
Inspector Girard?
Yeah, Inspector Asshole.
Something French. Some Frenchman. The French guy. The French villain of Lupin. That doesn't help much as well.
Yeah. In this one, it turns out the Doctor is the major villain. Gordo's the evil leader, but the Doctor turns out to be the evil, like, mastermind in disguise. He's the one that betrayed Lupin. He was his first partner, kind of deal. So I like the simple backstory there. Well, Lupin and Ellen together in Ellen's last breath shoots him in the face on a blimp. And then the gold that they had stolen off the island, or gotten off the island, crushes him off the blimp into the sea.
Gotta make sure he's
I was like, I approve.
Yeah. I love it, though. It's just like, fucking, can she shoot him? Can she shoot him? Her aim is not steady. Can she bang right between the eyes?
Well, Lupin's holding the gun and he's kind of like got this hesitation to him, and she just goes, no, let's do it together. I will help make your decision.
The guy's like, wait a second, let's talk this through. I know it's bad what I did to you, but bang. I was like, okay.
He's like, don't you want the antidote? I have it right here. Like,
yeah.
You're still gonna shoot me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then it goes full Batman. It does the full Batman thing. I don't know if anyone has read the original Batman comics from, like, the 60s and 70s.
Nope.
The one with the big bomb? The big bombs and
it happens.
Very wacky one.
Look, it happened. Yeah. It happens countless times. Whether Batman's poisoned or there's a bomb to explode, and he just goes, "You know what? I'll figure this out." 5 minutes later, got it.
I'm Batman.
There's a line. Yeah, I'm Batman. I love it, and it's not even just a full volume later. It's within 2 panels.
I'm screwed. This one, I solved it.
Yeah. Exactly, that's Batman in the 60s and 70s. I'm Batman. In this Lupin, Ellen even goes, well, I'm sorry you couldn't get the antidote, and he goes, don't worry, I'll make an antidote myself, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I love that, though. It's
like,
it's like,
all right.
One of the things you often forget, mostly because it isn't brought up, is that Lupin is canonically a genius.
He's canonically, yes. I got this, don't worry.
No, but like he is like fucking, he is not like a lot of stuff you'd often think about, like, because it's portrayed that way. Like he gets lucky, or he's like just happens to, but like, you kind of forget, especially if you remember part 1, right? He is canonically a genius. Don't forget, in part 1, he fucking strings up...
He made a fucking airplane out of a wardrobe or some shit.
He fucking manually...
To skip Zenigata.
He makes a fucking bamboo catapult manually, calculates for the fucking wind, and sends that shit over the goddamn mountain to fucking hit a cabin.
38 degrees, by the way.
Yeah.
That is the default number.
I know, but it's like, you kind of forget, but he might seem kind of stupid, but he really isn't.
That is true. That is true. That is true. He wouldn't be Lupin if he was just a dumb, monkey-looking guy.
Yeah, but he looks like a monkey, therefore he has to act like an idiot.
Look, if Detective Conan can't catch him, who can, right?
That's true.
Well, Zenigata.
Yeah, multiple times actually.
I have hopes.
He has put Lupin in jail before.
But that was because Lupin wanted it.
Yeah,
Let's
I mean,
be real.
Of course. Come on now.
All right. I'm ready to score Walther P38. To me, it's your fun action movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I took it as.
Yeah, definitely. I guess it's a little bit more serious, more sarcastical, dry humor from time to time. Especially whenever Lupin is trying to be like just a joking character, someone tries to kill him. So he reacts by being serious. For example, the knife fight he has with that one guy, that one assassin.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, I'm not going to do this shit. No, don't really care.
Bro,
like,
can't we talk this out?
Yeah, he's like, oh, come on, we don't need to do this. And the guy just straight up tries to kill him. And he grabs the Bowie knife and they start that sequence of fighting that end up with Ellen just hitting Lupin in the neck.
Oh yeah, she scissor kicks the piss out of him.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah. Way more dried. And again, that's the the late 90s Lupin right there. The pinnacle of it.
So what's your score, Hickey?
Score. I guess I'll give it a 7 as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because
that's fair.
The technical and production value in Walther P38 is higher than the other one.
I agree.
And they only have like 1 year between each one. So, and they're made by the same studio. So, you know.
Yeah. But I mean, there are different staffs, so it's not quite. It's not a.
I know, but you still have budget and time and things like that. And also you have, third-party contractors that they probably wasted money on to come and help.
Absolutely.
In Walther P38, but you still lose a little bit with the locked roles of the Lupin gang. Although I don't think it's that damaging, like you guys said, I still need to acknowledge that happens. I really like Ellen, really like the ending of the story because it is kind of a Pyrrhic victory for Lupin, and you don't see that much outside the TV series. Yes, he's alive. Yes, he got the poison out of his body, but to what cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's like he didn't get the gold. The woman died. He went there and he by himself opened a grave, put her out right next to the body of her brother, and everyone is like, well, where's Lupin? We going away, and you see a glimpse of serious Lupin, where he's just looking at the horizon near the graves. He didn't win anything at the end. It's a very Pyrrhic victory, and I'm saying Pyrrhic victory, that's a expression that says when you win but you actually don't get anything by winning. You just lose by the end, right?
Yeah.
You're winning as a title, but everyone loses.
He closes a major event of his
chapter,
past.
Yeah,
chapter. Thank you.
A chapter of his past, yes, but still, he didn't win anything. you have that.
Well, I mean, he killed like thousands of people on an island. I mean,
right? I mean,
they're all assassins and horrible people.
So. Yeah, but I mean, remember, this is Lupin, right? Lupin is not the killing guy. He is the sort of, remember, according to himself, why does he do all that dangerous stuff that he wants? For him, it's not about getting the reward; it's about the thrill of it all. But this wasn't about the thrill of it, right? Like you could take, I think the best example is you take Lupin versus like Fujiko. For Lupin, it's all about the fun of the like heist and making sure everything goes as well as possible, and escaping the police. And he quite often
does the chase.
Yeah, he quite often doesn't actually get the things he catches. He does steal it, but very often Fujiko gets in the way and they end up losing it. That's happened multiple times. But like Fujiko is quite different. She doesn't give a shit about how anything is done, or something. All she cares about is the result. She wants the gold. She wants the diamonds. Right? That's her end all be all. So I kind of like that. But in this one, Lupin is out of his comfort zone a lot, and I kind of agree with Hickey. I fucking love serious Lupin.
Yeah. But by the end, you don't have that satisfaction of Lupin.
Yeah.
Right? You have that feeling that he lost more than he won. There was no thrill for the adventure. By the end, of course, during the adventure, you have those a few moments where you see him having fun or whatever. But he still killed a bunch of people. He still had people killed on his behalf. He doesn't feel. It doesn't feel like a Lupin ending.
Yeah.
Until you have the Zenigata coming with a bunch of boats and helicopters to try to arrest Lupin, to make a testimony on who tried to kill him by the end. But it is still for Lupin and his gang a very Pyrrhic victory. They won, yes, but at the end of the day, everyone lost, which is very, very fun. Because of that, is a 7.
Yeah, no, for me, like, obviously I recommended this to Hickey. Going into this, I was obviously looking forward to it, as it is more Lupin, but I wasn't entirely sure of what I felt about watching a show about, like, the history behind his gun, which is kind of how it all starts. It becomes, well, more than that, but that's essentially like that's the punchline, that's the catch line for it. The tagline, and that was a little bit weird, but then we get into it. Like we said, when Senigata gets killed, that's like, oh hello, I see you're demanding my attention. So I got kind of locked into it, and I just ended up loving the whole like aspect, something different, something not about the heist, but rather a survival situation, which Lupin has been in before, but it kind of just, I don't know, it's never really a big threat to him, and it's kind of just over very quick. So to kind of get an entire, like, movie dedicated to, like, figuring out essentially how to, finding the antidote for the poison, but kind of being forced to do stuff that he doesn't want to do. He doesn't really end up doing much of anything, but, like, it puts it all in a different spin, and, I really did enjoy that. At the end of the day, I had a good time watching a different side of Lupin. A side of Lupin that I don't say. A Lupin that's, we often get the goofy Lupin. And like I said, I like serious Lupin as well, which shows up in every once in a while, usually for a scene or so. Often, sometimes even for a fight in which he's just had it and decides to absolutely like waste his enemies. But to kind of have that like more serious Lupin throughout it, because he's kind of out of his comfort zone, and
making a lot of miscalculations that cost a few things.
That was a nice one, so I ended up giving it an 8.
Nice.
Yeah,
I agree.
It was a lot of fun.
Go JD.
Yeah,
gives us your 6.
Okay, so what really I think what jarred me the most was definitely the character designs in this one, especially Lupin himself. Definitely not a fan of Fuminori Kazaki's work.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of basic, low-quality stuff, even by late 90s, early 2000s standards.
All right. I guess. I was going to talk about Miss by $1. because of the character designs of that one.
Yeah.
But it's you see like that character design was very famous in the 2000s, and you see this one leading to that.
This bothered me so much, just from an anime thing. It had nothing to do with the movie, really. I was just like, what character design does this remind me of? And I just could not get that out of my head the entire movie. I go, this is really bothering me. I just went through probably 20, 30 anime that I was trying to think of that this character design, I'm like, okay, is it Trigun? No. Is it Slayers? Well, definitely not Slayers. I just went through this list in my head and looking it up online. Like, I just could not put my finger on what this character art did. That bothered me so much. I was just not a fan, especially Lupin himself. He just looked off model the whole movie. But anyways, character designs aside, this was a very enjoyable action movie. I got a very different perspective of, again, much like in Twilight Gemini, of all the Lupin movies I had seen prior, even the Lupin TV shows. Very much enjoyable ride and experience. So I gave it a 7 out of 10. So this is the 2 for 2 now, Tori, you gave it 8 out of 10.
I did give it 8 out of 10.
If Hickey gave it 8 out of 10, I'd be like, our picks, the person who picked it gave it the higher score. But
no. Like, yeah. I need your knowledge, the problems there is in this one. Probably more for Lupin fans, and they're like, oh, maybe the fish out of the water kind of scenario. They threw Lupin in this one might be a little jarring or not as fun or not as interesting.
I definitely
so I need to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Tori doesn't see this as a problem. He actually enjoyed it, and you see it as a problem.
Yeah, I mean that again. That
I don't see it. I don't see it as a huge problem.
Not as a problem. Yeah. Not as a just any little inconvenience.
Yeah,
because then you lose a lot of the essence of the thrill of the heist as Lupin likes to call it.
Yeah, sure. No, but like again, I've never really had problems with. I like seeing characters I know and love doing different stuff. So it's kind of like, and I mean, again, I like Basilisk as well. Not as much as this one, but it was different enough. I liked it because of that. So, and again, it has its moments where it's just like really attention demanding for me. So it hits this right spot for me in terms of action movies.
So 7, 7, 8 again. Tori, quick question.
Yes.
Do the character designs in these Lupin movies and specials affect your viewing point in any way? Like they do mine?
I mean, again, when you watch so many of them, you get used to different styles. But sure, there are some.
Okay.
I don't remember. There was one special that had a style similar to Part 3. Which I don't remember which one that was, but I remember getting to that special. That was just that was my moment where I was just I couldn't get over it because I don't like the character designs in Part 3, and the same thing there. It's like they're
all right. It's not just me then.
Yeah.
That's what I was going for. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to play now Tori's favorite little Lupin theme, and we'll get into our last movie special. Here we go. All right, Tori, that was the theme from Lupin the Third, 2008. Sweet Lost Night.
Wait. Oh my God! Did you switch mine and Hickey's?
Did I switch it?
Yeah, you did.
You were the 89 one.
I was the 89 one. Yes.
Oh damn it! All right. Well, I played the Sweet Lost Night one. I thought I ordered them appropriately. My bad, guys.
Yeah, I was the 2008 one, but you said it. I just didn't want to call you so I just stay shut.
I thought he did, but I was like, nah, I must have heard wrong. All right, yeah, whatever.
Must have been incorrect. Well, that's okay. Well, 30 seconds regardless, nonetheless.
Yeah, just for those listening, just switch those the last two for around. Anyways, yeah, no, mine is Lupin the Third, Episode 0, First Contact, which is by Studio TMS Entertainment, of course, directed by Minoru Ohara, who JD says has done nothing. So I'm going to choose to believe him on that one because I can't be bothered looking it up. And it was released in July 26, 2002. So, all of these specials, although, obviously different years, came in around the same week of different years. So, the summary from Anime Planet. Lupin, a thief on the rise in New York City, has acquired a mysterious treasure called the Calm of Helmuth. Originally stolen from a crime family by his now deceased friend, Jigen Daisuke. The fastest drawer in the American underworld has been hired to return the treasure to its owner, and quickly takes the idea of killing Lupin to a personal level. Also hot on Lupin's trail is the swordsman Ishikawa Goemon, who also has his own agenda of stealing the treasure. Chronologically, First Contact is the story of the Lupin gang's first encounter. So, yeah, essentially, it's an alternative take on the meeting of the cast. I say alternative because, they do actually meet in part 1. But, irrelevant. So, kind of the opening is, we have Jigen getting interviewed by this reporter for the backstory behind the gang and whatnot, and, they go from there. He starts telling the story of how they all met. Now, obviously, I've already briefly talked about this show on this podcast, so I'm going to shut up now, and I'm going to have you guys tell me what you thought about this.
Okay, I'll go.
Yeah, that is better than saying Go JD makes your host bullshit now.
Okay. All right.
I'll learn for you, Tori.
So, I'll just start with the character design since that's on my mind a lot. Designs are by Satoshi Hirayama, and he did Glass Mask the remake designs in 2005. So this kind of goes full circle on Twilight Gemini, where the director did the original Glass Mask. So there was even a remake in that. I thought that was interesting. And boy, are they just stupendous and crisp, is how I'll describe it. I loved the character designs in this. I loved each person's first encounter so much, and I thought that was very, very important for this. It's titled First Contact. It's all about the beginning introductions to how Lupin and the cast met, and Lupin in particular is the focus, as it should be, and how he met all of these characters, how they became the gang that we know. We have the first one with Jigen, where there's a standoff with Jigen as the bodyguard of the loot Lupin is trying to steal, where Lupin's disguised as this hot, sexy, busty blonde. I quite appreciated it. At first, I thought it was Fujiko. That's who I thought it was going to be. I really did.
I like that it became a fucking sex doll.
Yeah. He dodges Jigen's bullet storm by an inflatable sex doll. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, hold on, that's not what it was advertised a while ago. What the fuck?
Like, how is this possible? He shedded his skin like a chameleon.
Yeah,
like a snake.
I mean that goes back to old genius Lupin with his Batman gadgets. That it comes from time to time.
James Batman.
James Batman.
James Batman.
Makes sense though. It's episode 0 after all.
Yeah. I liked his first encounter with Fujiko. She's in a hot biker suit. Mostly the whole movie, in fact. After the death of her supposed boyfriend, Lupin's rival, Brad, who also has a sick, awesome headband.
Just a quick note. You like to point out her biker outfit, so you're going to like the Takeshi Koike movies.
Excellent. Yeah. Fujiko's got her hot biker suit onesie going on with the zipper in the front, I might add, for obvious reasons.
Always in the front.
Always in the front.
She's a brunette.
Yes.
Which is the most important part.
Yeah, she was a blonde in the other two movies. The first scene with Zenigata, not even with Lupin, we just see Zenigata, and this is interesting because it's not him meeting Lupin for the first time; it's how he comes upon meeting Lupin. Is the story throughout this entire movie.
Yes.
We see Zenigata as kind of this biggest stooge. He's a comic relief, much like his role in Walther P38. He chases down a New York taxi driver, he even arrests undercover police officers on the street, like doing a drug deal. He's just super righteous. And of course, that only gets him into trouble, as we've seen in countless police movies, American style.
Remember,
director just puts
even in Lupin, I think Zenigata got arrested more times than Lupin.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely,
yes,
it has to be.
No, but the thing that I think is interesting, and I like this aspect of this one, because obviously Zenigata is, while he works for the ICPO, he is from Japan, and so is Fujiko.
He doesn't work for the ICPO yet.
Yeah, he's still just a metropolitan police officer, and that is so cool.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But still, the point is, like, he is still the one he's originally after is Fujiko. Which is interesting. I like that little. Like, it's a unnecessary touch, but I like it.
So, and then we get Goemon being super swordsman running a dojo. So Zenigata and Goemon kind of have that same little origin story in meeting Lupin, where it's by chance. And it kind of plays off of, to some extent, part one, especially Goemon in this case, in a callback to how they first met. Which I really appreciated. But Zenigata ends up getting put into file storage with another police officer named George McFly, which I cracked up about. So that's a reference to...
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, thank you.
Yeah.
And then we get Fujiko's first seduction and comedy scene with Lupin. So Fujiko is dating Brad, Lupin's rival, and then she's kind of got her own thing going on, of course, behind the scenes, with the mob involved. And she seduces Lupin, and Lupin doesn't know what to do with a woman of Fujiko's standard, let's say. And they have a full-on sex scene. Of course, we don't see any of it, but we hear it, kind of deal. My favorite scene in this is Lupin getting ready. He's like, "Oh my god, what do I do?" And he goes to his closet, and he just happens to have it's full of kinky cosplay stuff.
Yeah, I was like, well, I mean, he was dressed as a hot blonde at the beginning of the movie, so I was like, makes sense. The sexy lingerie for a night of hot sex, not so much. The rest, yeah, I can't understand.
Do I wear the hot maid outfit, the hot doctor outfit, the lingerie? Oh no, the choices. And Fujiko seduces him, and I believe there's a line that the dudes with the wiretap are just like, "Oh my god, come on, is this really necessary?"
The guy, the Shade, which is kind of the main villain, the guy who looks like he came straight out of Matrix.
Of the time. Yeah,
he's just there. And the van is like, is this necessary? And the guy who's sitting in the driver's seat, listening to what's going on, blushing out with a happy smile in his face, is like, oh yeah, that is extremely necessary.
I mean, like, Fujiko has some pretty funny sex scenes whenever they do occur. I remember there was one from the woman called Fujiko Min as well, where she has sex with Zenigata of all people in the police headquarters. Yeah, in the police headquarters. And it's so funny because she just moans out as loud as she possibly can so that everyone can hear. And everyone's like gathering at the fucking door like, what's going on? What's he doing? Fujiko has some, like, usually they're interrupted, but whenever they do actually go with it, it's pretty good.
So there's a lot of back and forth in the middle, involving all the characters. It's a slow trek. not even a slow trek. It's a well-paced trek on how it all connects together, and then we get individual scenes, which I loved, and it's spaced out perfectly. We get Lupin versus Jigan, and then they end up getting a mutual respect for each other, which makes sense why this is the first one, because they have the closest relationship. They're buds, and they have this understanding of one another, yet this rivalry. Then we get near the end of how Goemon comes into play, where really calls back to their first encounter in part 1, all the way from how Lupin lights him on fire.
Yeah.
You know, where they have this long drawn out versus sequence where Goemon has a sword, which happens to be the treasure that they're after, more or less. It's the key to unlock the mystery metal, I suppose.
The container that has the technique on how to make the best
metal on Earth.
Steel, the best steel of Earth. Yeah. Doesn't matter, it's Lupin. Makes sense. And then there's some Nazis in the middle.
Of course there is.
It happens.
There's always a Nazi reference. World War II, whatever. Every podcast, there's a Nazi reference of some kind.
That's right.
It happens. They said it.
Yeah.
They did. They absolutely did.
I just told you. Nazi symbolism was normal for Lupin.
Yeah. And then inserted in between is the interaction of Fujiko and her role, which... so when you put all this together with Zenigata learning of the gang and how it comes into play, and then the 3 gang members and how Lupin gets them involved, it all works so well. Mm-hmm. The pacing's well, the action's there, the comic relief's there. I was astounded. I didn't know what to expect with something called First Contact, and this is the 30th anniversary special of Lupin in itself, which I didn't know until I popped open the case I bought from Right Stuff. There's a no plug shout out right there. It's just right there on the front. I go, oh, 2002. Yeah, you're right. That is the 30th anniversary.
I mean,
so I love this. I loved how everything comes together. I love how it finishes. It has your classic. It has all of your classic moments you want and a good little background story of it all.
Yeah. You have the comic relief, like you said. I especially love the one where Zenigata finally finds, or when he finds Lupin's little secret hideout there, and Lupin's on the toilet, and he goes to flush it.
He's in the shack on a roof.
Yeah, and he goes to flush it. It's like, no, not that one. And he pulls the wrong thing, and he gets thrown out.
Dude, Zenigata goes into the hood.
He's single-handed.
And single-handedly beats up everybody.
Yeah, like I've said this before. But it's the same thing. Like, again, one of those things like, you'd never expect it, even though it's not the first time. But Zenigata is strong. Like, really strong.
He is. Like, even in Walther P38, when he resurrects, the police chief is like, what is your body made of? Like, you just died and came back to life like that was nothing. What is wrong with you?
And then, he's a man on a mission.
And, you know, yeah, and George asks him, like, why are you doing that? Why are you forcing yourself? You know, although you're very capable, he's not, like, capable as Lupin that can make the same thing, or, like, everyone in the gang, mostly, that can make, except Fujiko. Fujiko can do that, but she loses some clothing in the process, but can beat up 30 people and not get a scratch, while Zenigata can do the same, but he also gets pretty much beat up. Mm-hmm. And the guy's like, you're not qualified for those kind of fights, why are you doing that? It's like, well, it doesn't matter, there's a goal in front of me and I need to reach it. That's what a police officer is meant to be.
Isn't this the strive that it takes to be a police officer? Oh my God!
I mean,
what enlightening words! I have changed my ways.
I mean, it's not
a man.
It's not just that, though. I mean, fucking like in Eternal Mermaid, he fucking judo throws a goddamn immortal demon.
Yeah,
he's not the fuck. You don't fuck with Zenigata, man.
No, he survived a fucking explosion in this one.
Yeah.
and the collapsing of a building.
Yep, he did.
Like, and he arrested Lupin.
Yeah. But
it's like,
I must say this as well. One thing that I really appreciate is because, like, kind of one of the things that do it's such a simple thing, but it's just a connection of the start and the end. Remember, like, Lupin, one of the first things he wants to do in this one, or one of the things he originally wants to do, is he wants to rob the Bank of America. But he can't, because security is too...
The Federal Reserve Bank, yeah. Security's too tight. He needs help.
He needs help, yeah, because he can't do it on his own. And how does it
That's
end?
his dream.
Well, the gang goes to rob the bank.
Well, it's good. He hints to Jigen about that when they have their little mutual understanding, and they pass it, and he goes, "That's my dream right there."
Yep.
But I'm going to need some help.
And I like that. Like, it's a very simple thing, but it's a nice little, like, connection. You make that at the start, and then at the end you fulfill... I mean, we don't get to see the heist, but you hint that promise was fulfilled.
No, you see it in the credits.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
you
see the whole thing.
Him going in dressed as Zenigata.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I mean, this movie, especially after, like, 1997 with Walther P38, and then you have 2000s, let's not talk about that one. And I think 2001, there's another one. And then in this one, in 2002, I guess, because they are trying to get the anniversary right, everything clicked, right? You have a very iconic art style. They made a well-balanced story and story elements between the 1970s Part 1 Lupin with modern Lupins from the 90s.
Mm.
The music's just outstanding.
Yeah.
And when you see that allied with a very well thought and written characters, which by this time they're already 30 years old and they innovated a lot in the first Contact, which I love. Zenigata is still Zenigata. The only thing you learn about Zenigata is that he's made of steel or something. Like, he will never die.
Yeah.
But you see...
Just gotta say Lupin in front of him, he'll spring back to life.
Yeah. You see Jigen acquiring that iconic, sarcastic, ironic kind of personality he has, because at most of the time during the special or movie, he's very frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Because, he's there, it's like, I'm the best at this shit, and everyone is saying I cannot beat this guy. And he started getting frustrated until he, Goemon appears. And then he goes confront Goemon saying, yo, fuck you, I'm trying to do this since the beginning. You're not stealing my kill. Then you have the fight between him and Goemon, which is really cool. And then you have, like, this respect between him and Goemon that appears, where they're like, well, never seen someone deflect bullets with a sword, only one scratched you, and he's like, yeah, no one ever survived that long fighting against me, which is really cool. And then you have the scene when Jigen and Lupin, a little bit before that, they are captured by the American guy, the
mafia guy,
right? Yeah, the mafia guy, and Lupin throws out the P38, and the guy will shoot Lupin with the P38, and a box glove just comes out of... Like, it doesn't make any sense on how that fit inside of a P38. And then Lupin starts laughing because it's funny, and then Jigen, who was frustrated that he couldn't win against the guy, and he was becoming angry, he started cracking up and laughing as well.
Yeah.
Because he just said, fuck it doesn't matter anymore. I have fun just being with this guy, so might as well just loosen up. You have Fujiko.
That happens at the same time with Goemon. He even says the line, "Man, you gave up too?"
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of fun moments.
Fujiko being very calculist.
Yes.
You see her calculating on the fly, and usually she gets. It's not angry. It not gets to angriness. But it's there, like when she's confronted, when she's pinched against a wall. For example, when one of right at the beginning, where Lupin is talking about Brad, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know this guy. It doesn't matter. It's just a one-night thing." And then he shows the medal,
the pendant. Yeah.
It says, then says Brad is dead, and you can see on her face that the mask she was using just fall a little, just slip a little bit, and then she tries to calculate the next move on the fly, and it's really, really cool, and gets a lot of depth, which got replicated on newer Lupins.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah. But I mean, again, I just like the little touches as well. Like even just something as simple as, you know, like I said at the beginning, it starts with obviously this like interviewer Jigen. I like that fucking moment when it turns out actually she's been interviewing Lupin the entire time. It's just for dressing up as Jigen. Yeah. Like it's again, it's one of those things, like, you know, just adding more of that like typical Lupin comedy. But I love that because, like, you know, she originally said that she couldn't interview Lupin because, you know, he would just try to sleep with her. That turns out actually you've been interviewing Lupin the entire time.
Yeah, he was trying to sleep with her, but as Jigen.
Yep. Lupin finds a way.
This is yeah.
But one thing as well, this is what I'm kind of curious of how you guys felt about this, because like I said, obviously this is still non-canon, at least in comparison to the manga. And
speak for yourself.
But it's got throwbacks to it, but it wouldn't be considered canon. But one thing that I think is very interesting is how, like I said this in my original kind of going over this as well. At the end, when everybody walks out, when the gig is up, and turns out that Jigen was actually Lupin the entire time. When everybody walks out, one of the things that they all kind of agree on is the fact that, like, when they kind of confront, it's like, was that how it happened? Or I don't remember those things happening the way you said. So I think that's kind of interesting in that they kind of feign, not ignorance, but like kind of throw that like out that this may not be how it actually happened, which is interesting. It's a kind of interesting thing to end on.
Yeah. I mean,
but
it's not canon, but I like it, and
same.
I can see as being canon for at least Fujiko and Jigen.
Yes.
Because at the beginning of Lupin, on part 1, Jigen is already friends with Lupin, and Fujiko just already appears by the end of the episode to steal whatever Lupin was trying to steal.
Yes.
So you actually don't have a solid background story to how they met.
Oh yeah, no, that is
the
true.
only one you have is Goemon.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see it being a good background story for Fujiko and Jigen.
Yeah. The
only thing we know for sure is Goemon always challenges Lupin to a duel. He gets lit on fire, and then he gives up because Lupin got the best of him. Yep. That is the only for sure background that we know.
Yeah, no, but I just kind of like this, right? Because it's still kind of, while we do get like a story, we still kind of maintain that like a bit of that like mystery. Because again, like I've said before, but one of the things that I like about stories is to still maintain a little bit of the mystery, and I do still think it is. Well, as much as interesting as a, you know, prequel story, as the story of how the characters met is, I do still kind of like that idea that it is still a mystery, like exactly what happened, how, like what, and, you know, again, yes, we do see stuff here, but the fact that they do kind of, not undermine it, but kind of throw out that little seed of doubt, like, is that really exactly how it happened, or is this just Lupin trying to get laid?
Oh yeah. I can see that, definitely. I see now. Yeah. I can definitely agree with that.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes
like I definitely agree with that. I guess
I don't
it
like
comes
liars,
back to,
but I wasn't.
I guess it comes back to my feeling that this is when everything clicked together, and it's a great Lupin adventure.
Yep. Definitely.
So, like, does it matter at the end? No, not really. You have the wackness, you have the seriousness, you have everything.
Mm.
You have the jazz for...
jazz for your soul.
I won't say, yeah. You have the jazz for your soul. So, at the end, does it matter?
No.
No. Will Lupin get laid? Probably not. But
one day.
No, he definitely got laid in this movie. He wasn't interrupted.
True.
Oh, that is true. But that was the flashback. I meant in the present time. Yes. I mean that was the whole objective of the background story being told. No.
Yeah. No, definitely.
You see?
So no, it's again, it's no, but I definitely agree. Like I think episode 0, or First Contact, I do think like it's one of those rare breeds of Lupin specials that just kind of manages to take all these different aspects of Lupin and just mash them together into a really solid episode. It actually feels like an episode that was planned out. a lot of specials kind of feel like they came up with an idea for like a heist or something that for Lupin to do, and then they work around that. But this one feels like they literally just decided, like again, like we've spoken about the love letters to Lupin and people who are just fans of the show. Like, sure, let's just have fun with it. Like we have this idea. Now let's just flesh that out properly and then just have a bunch of throwback, like add in some throwbacks to the series. Make sure that some things are stay true to the original. Change other things to how we want them. Make a bunch of references to a bunch of stuff at the same time, because this is Lupin. Why wouldn't they?
You even have the iconic yellow car.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
By the end, yeah.
So, just to wrap things up, I'll just give my score now.
Mm-hmm.
Just to cut this, because I gotta get going here to see Ibrahimovic play. Yes. And if he doesn't, I will be quite upset. Look, everything First Contact sets out to do, it does phenomenally. Everything from the iconic jackets, Fujiko's hair, and as my cat, no! Bad kitty! Wow! Going after all the stuff that I don't need him to chew on. Fujiko, looking sexy, the character art being just fantastic. Everything well animated to a T. It was definitely ahead of its time. This is not what I would associate with 2002. Saikano is like what I would associate with 2002 animation and art style.
Saikano is great. It is great. I don't have any other argument. But it's great.
I love all the character interactions. The music goes through like a history of the series and specials, and it's just right there in itself, from fast-paced Lupin music that we've played before we discuss each movie special, to a slow jazz. Here we are. Oh,
there's a samba in the middle of that.
Yeah,
with Portuguese lyrics.
Yep.
I was like, oh
yeah, no, that's great. And
the opening, it matches a lot.
And the opening is the '89 version, which was my favorite.
Well, it's now Hickey's favorite, okay? I'm sorry, but now it's changed. So yeah, this was my third and last movie I watched. I watched all these in a row. I had seen Twilight Gemini prior to this cast. So that was my second time going through that one. I am giving this a 9 out of 10. Ooh. This just gave me the biggest smile on my face. If you are a Lupin fan or wanting to get into Lupin, either or, this is a can't miss. That's how much I think. That's how highly I think of this special. So yeah, 9 out of 10.
Okay. I'll give 8 plus 1 because it's highly enjoyable. So yeah, I'll be there with you, JD. I'll give it a 9 as well.
Oh my God, Hickey! Oh, we're friends again.
This one, it has a few problems, but
sure, yeah.
Like it doesn't at the end doesn't really matter, honestly, because the problems it has is the same problem you have with every single Lupin. The villains. And the wacky story. Done. Which, by the end of the day, when it comes to Lupin, doesn't really matter. Especially when you have such a solid show, or such a solid movie like this one. So yeah, a 9 is a good one for this one. So I will unfortunately have to agree with you. It is what you do.
Oh, it's so unfortunate. Oh, no.
Yeah, no, as usually, I obviously keep the best ones for myself. Because I'm always correct, and I always...
Well,
I have the best taste.
As is podcast kayfabe, you have the best taste, Tori.
But yeah, no, I do agree. Like, it is definitely one of those. I was expecting to not like it that much because I was just like, are we gonna get like another version of the first encounter of the cast? It's not the first time that somebody has tried this. It actually happens quite frequently. But so I was a little bit down on it, but then I got to watching it. It's just that's really good. So yeah, definitely. People should check it out, even if you haven't seen Lupin before. By all means, go and check it out. It's a fantastic special. And a lot of fun. However, I do not agree that it is quite a 9. I ended up giving this an 8. It was almost a 9, but there are still certain things that just kind of not irks me about it, but there are certain, like Hickey said, there are things with the villains that I think were kind of particularly. I think a lot of resolution with some of it is a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's just so good. So incredibly good.
Just give it a 9 and let's
just give it a 9, Tori. Stop pussyfooting around.
Fine, you're right. I'm going to give it an 8.
So 998. It is easily the aggregate higher scored special out of the 3.
I'm glad because I was hoping it was good. This one was going to be the most well received one.
So just to reiterate, the 3 we discussed were Secret of Twilight Gemini from 96, Walther P38 from 97, and First Contact from 2002. So there you go. Shout out to Arcade Game Room and Anime Radicals. Anime Radicals is the conglomeration anime podcast that the RedLeafRetrocast is a part of. Go hit them up on Twitter at Anime Radicals, and they're found on all your favorite podcasting websites. I have to take this call. I'll call him back. You know what? Ibrahimovic is waiting. I had to get I have to get going like immediately.
I didn't realize that Ibrahimovic is calling you.
Yeah, we're on a first name basis. Latan and I, like, I didn't want to make it clear, but now the cat's out of bag. So this was a super fun special episode. Tori, Hickey, I'm glad you guys were here. Lupin 3rd movie specials, episode 54. Go hit us up, Red Leaf Retrocast. Hit us all up on Twitter. All of our Twitter handles are in the description of every episode. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Goodbye.
Tantas luzes pra acalentar meu coração de tanto amor. Nessa brisa, o vento frio vem me abraçar, me faz chorar. Aonde vou te buscar? Aonde você estará? Nada vai me consolar, eu sei. Nas minhas